One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 81-100. 81-081 Relationship established. Although Lu Chengkong didn't know what Khalifa and Boa Hancock said, he could probably guess something from the two women's reactions. "It's cheap for you." Khalifa deliberately pretended to be vicious and gave Lu Chengkong a huge white eye. Of course, Lu Chengkong, who was cheap and sold well, could only smirk darkly, but he was very proud in his heart. His wife actually helped him to seduce her friends. This kind of funny is absolutely not in modern times, not to mention that Lu Chengkong in the earth could not imagine that he would have a woman as good as Khalifa, not to mention killing two birds with one stone. If there is one, he has already burned incense and worshipped Buddha. Solving the Boa Hancock matter. Boa Hancock, who has no worries, although he started a tender offensive against Lu Chengkong, it can be said that every word Lu Chengkong said during this period was no less than the existence of the imperial decree, that tenderness and sweetness. Khalifa's performance made Khalifa feel sour in her heart. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong used her body to comfort Khalifa's jealous soul every night. Boa Hancock, who will not have lovesickness, does his best to teach the two how to awaken Haki. It is difficult to say, but it is actually quite simple. One will rise to the sky, or they will be tied up and given an oxygen bag to sink the two of them into the bottom of the sea. In layman's terms, it is to exercise their courage. Exercise the chi to a strong enough point and then burst out. During this period, Lu Chengkong and the two fully experienced what Boa Hancock said. Haki's cultivation is simply life-threatening, and it is not as simple as once, but before Haki is awakened, every cultivation is equal to after dying. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa couldn't help but let out a sigh at the moment when they finally woke up to Haki. Haki is really not cultivated by people. It's no wonder that so few people can awaken, and very few can use it skillfully. Now I finally understand why your strength has improved so fast, Hancock. Living like this. Quote. That's right, no effort is made, no gain. Boa Hancock has gained such a strong strength in such a short period of time is not just because of her good aptitude, but her dedication is really huge. Only half a year of Haki's cultivation career. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa had already been left alive and dead, but Boa Hancock spent 7 years in such a life. Every day for 7 years, she experienced countless lives and deaths, constantly struggling on the edge of life and death. It's no wonder that the strength of the people will improve so fast. The potential of people in that state is the easiest to explode. Otherwise, the two of you thought it would be easy. The concubine is a little sleepy when I think about it now. You have to stay with me, Zhang Kong. Boa Hancock said here and suddenly wrapped his arms around Lu Chengkong, with a frightened expression on his face. Said. Of course. Of course. Lu Chengkong agreed, because he knew very well that Boa Hancock didn't act like a spoiled child on purpose. And the fear in her eyes was real. After all, she had lived this kind of life day and night for 7 years. For a woman who is only 19 years old now, it is really a nightmare. Looking at Boa Hancock, who is basically her own woman, shows such a pitiful appearance. Of course Lu Chengkong agreed to everything, and his mouth was full of comfort. It can be said that Lu Chengkong, all the love words in his brain have been spoken in an instant. Hey, the two of you are too much. Anyway, I'm also by your side. You don't need to be so direct. Khalifa said silently on the side, helping the two of them to hook up, and now the two are hooked up. Can she be happy that she completely ignores her existence? We didn't show any affection, we just talked about it directly, and how could I ignore you? You are my wife. Lu Chengkong immediately hugged Khalifa in his arms and hurriedly assured. Zhang Kong, you two have now mastered your aura, and armament and observation Haki have also awakened, but the real Haki career has just begun. The practice method of Haki on 9 Snake Island is actually not as advanced as you think, and there is nothing to it. Cheats and the like, but it is summed up by the Haki powerhouses of the past dynasties. Challenge death, experience death, feel death, and transcend death. Boa Hancock frowned two very good-looking willow eyebrows and said this. In a word. What do you mean? Lu Chengkong and Khalifa looked at each other and said somewhat confused. It's very simple. The initial form of haki can be said to be the spirit of the user. Have you ever seen a person who is afraid of death awaken haki to be a strong haki? Basically, the stronger the haki, the stronger the obsession. There are people who are afraid of death, unless their hearts have fallen, and the people who have awakened haki want to quickly increase the power of haki. There are two ways, one is high-intensity battle, and the second is faster. Boa Hancock explained to Lu Chengkong immediately, looking anxious as if he wanted to give everything to Lu Chengkong. Death, that's the life you made me and Khalifa live before, dealing with death every day, the power that blocked us flying into the sky and falling, sinking into the sea, jumping off cliffs, etc. All to give them a challenge to death the spirit. Lu Chengkong's brain flashed and he immediately understood. That's right, now I have reached the point where I feel death. It should be regarded as the beginning. It can be said that death is no longer a terrible thing for me, nor is it an unknown thing. I have basically begun to understand him. The most terrifying thing for people should be death, especially for some people who have a goal of survival. Let people who don't want to die feel death and be neighbors with death. It's easy to say, but it's done. There are a few more people who can do it. Boa Hancock said sarcastically. I think I understand. Lu Chengkong had a sense of comprehension at this moment, and so did Khalifa beside him. Boa Hancock nodded with joy when he saw the expressions of the two, secretly thinking that it was indeed his concubine's fancy. Men and friends, really extraordinary. Khalifa, who are headless flies, and they are not as hard as they were at the beginning. They have even begun to try to experience death for themselves, although it was very difficult at the beginning, and the kind of being overwhelmed. Shrouded in the breath of death, the taste of life and death is very uncomfortable, but if you don't do this, you can't exercise your own spirit at all, that is, haki, so this method of improvement is painful and terrible, but it is received. The effect is very huge. 82082 Bad feeling. 5 months passed quietly under Lu Chengkong and Khalifa's sleepless haki practice. During the period, Boa Hancock joined them and started her practice, driven by the positive atmosphere created by the two. Those who practiced were more advanced than Lu Chengkong and the two of them, and the difficulties were countless times. After all, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa are just going to experience the taste of death and don't need to remember what it is like, but Boa Hancock is different. He not only wants to challenge death, experience death, but also feel everything about death. So Boa Hancock, the days of cultivation they had spent were countless times harder than those of Lu Chengkong and the two of them. This day is also the day Lu Chengkong and Khalifa left. After all, the two of them are still CF9 in name. Even if they don't take this matter seriously at all, they both know Marine's patience. There is a bottom line. Although the two have learned haki, they don't think that they can defeat the three admiral just by practicing haki for a year. Plus Eni's lobby, they really need this identity to do something for them. After all, Eni's lobby's intelligence ability for Barry, who hunted pirates by himself, obtained merits and bounties, it was very helpful. If he left Eni's lobby and was no longer CF9, he would definitely not have such huge and rich benefits. You guys are really leaving. Sitting on the boat that Boa Hancock gave them to them, looking at her reluctant expression, coupled with her pitiful expression, the amazing charm emanated from her, and visibly the reason is that the female warriors of Lily Island behind her are already intoxicated and worshipped. Yeah, but I think it won't take long for us to meet. Then we'll go on an adventure together and do what we want to do. When you're free, you can train the next queen, even if you're not there. There won't be any major problems, and you can leave with peace of mind. Lu Chengkong is always determined, and after practicing haki for so long, he can certainly resist Boa Hancock's intangible charm that is just like his temperament. Can live. Okay, the concubine knows how to do it, but you must come back quickly. Although Boa Hancock was reluctant, he finally agreed after Lu Chengkong and Khalifa took turns to persuade them, but the two of them did not agree. What he knew was that Boa Hancock was already looking for the next candidate to become the queen of his own qualifications at this time, so she could follow Lu Chengkong's side without any scruples, and would not give Lu Chengkong any excuses to refute. It's really strange. Is this the taste of love? The concubine actually agreed to any request made by Cheng Kong without any thought, even if it was impossible to separate, but as long as he said it. I agreed with the truth and strangeness, but this kind of it feels so comfortable, so sweet, it's like being cut by a knife when we separate. Boa Hancock thought to himself, and at the same time put a jade finger on his small mouth and gently covered it. It looks so beautiful. Okay, just you, since you brought Sky and Khalifa to Empress, and even more to Empress to get Sky, then this credit is enough to qualify you to become the next queen. Boa Hancock's beautiful eyes glanced at the person behind him, and finally fixed on Margaret's body, and suddenly decided to train this girl to become the next queen, although it is not known whether she has a conqueror, but this at that time, Boa Hancock couldn't manage so much. Anyway, not all queens of so many generations of emperors have conquerors, as long as they are strong enough. If the previous queen knew that Boa Hancock's way of choosing the next queen would be so casual and sloppy at this time, he might be so angry that he would go into the coffin immediately. Margaret, you are Empress's apprentice from now on. Empress will give you special training, as long as you survive, then you will be the next queen of Amazon Lily Island. Remember, as Empress's apprentice you must never think that you will fail and die, you can only succeed and never fail. Boa Hancock, who wanted to do it, immediately said his decision, ignoring the dull eyes of the audience. The technology of the pirate ship on Amazon Lily Island at this time is ahead of the world. Not to mention, although this ship is not a big ship, it is at most the size of a medium-sized pirate ship, but its balance and speed. They are all faster than any ship Liu Chengkong has ever built. It can be said that this ship is no less than Kuzan's ship that Liu Chengkong has built once before. Of course, I am saying this now, not 9 years later, which is the period of the original book. At that time, marine sailing technology and ship manufacturing technology were already ranked first in the world. It can be said that it is the only one that can rival marine. That is, the increasingly developed shipbuilding industry in the water capital, that is, the ships produced by Tom's two apprentices can be comparable to the ships of the later marine. It took Liu Chengkong more than 3 months to come to Lily Island in the Amazon, but now they are working on the boat given by Boa Hancock, and the speed is very amazing. It only took more than a month to go back to Annie's lobby. The speed is more than twice as fast as when it came. There is really nothing to say in terms of speed, but this boat is not suitable for long-term sailing, because a lot of things have been sacrificed for the speed of this boat. Such as staying power, wear resistance, defense power, etc. Are all weakened a lot, only suitable for short-term sailing. What's the matter? Why did I feel a little bad when I walked into the Annie's lobby, and the feeling came back when I grabbed the Tenryubito devil fruit? Why is it so uncomfortable, as if my relatives or friends have appeared uncomfortable? Good things are normal. Liu Chengkong's complexion changed dramatically the moment he stepped on the land of Annie's lobby. He couldn't help but put his hand on his heart. What's wrong with Chengkong? Khalifa quickly asked Liu Chengkong as he covered his heart, thinking that something had happened. I don't know, that feeling has come again, which is the very accurate feeling I told you many years ago, as if someone important to me is being attacked and seems to leave me at any time. Liu Chengkong Yaohe shook his head, his mind started to run at a high speed, and there were definitely not many people he knew when he came to this world. Will something happen to Boa Hancock? Are you kidding me? It is impossible to kill her without 3 Admiral's full force shots. After all, it is no joke when the 3-colored hockey burst out, and there are so many warriors from 9 Snake Island behind her. Could it be Lucci and Juliana? Liu Chengkong had this idea at the same time, and the feeling came again. His intuition told him that there should be a problem with one of the two, or a problem with both sides. Let's go. Liu Chengkong's face was extremely gloomy. For him, the friends in this life were hard-won. These friends did not have any intentions for him, but really regarded him as friends. It can be said that except for Khalifa and Boa Hancock apart from others, these friends are the most important. Now that he thinks that these friends are going to have an accident, can he feel good? 83083 Incident. Spandam, where did Lucci and the others go? Liu Chengkong had left all his worries behind in a hurry. He kicked the door to pieces and shouted at the frightened Spandam. "Ah, you're back, don't be nervous. The world government has discovered the exact location of Nico Robin, and she has been followed by the lone swordsman Juliana, and she must not be allowed to develop further, and she is actually looking for the historical text, so let the people from CF9 clean them up." Seeing Lu Chengkong's gloomy and terrifying face, Spandam dared to hide what he said directly. "What are you talking about? The world government asked Lucci and the others to kill the lone swordsman and capture Nico Robin." "Bastards, world government, marine headquarters, if there is a problem with either of them, I will never let you go." Lu Chengkong roared inwardly. Khalifa beside him was pretty and frosty, but Juliana saved her and Lu Chengkong, and she was one of her few good friends. It can be said that in her life, apart from Lu Chengkong and Boa Hancock, it is only Juliana who is a close friend. "Asshole, no wonder I feel so uneasy in my heart. It turns out that people on both sides are killing each other. Asshole, is the world government making it clear that they can't get along with me? Or is this incident an accident?" Lu Chengkong got Rob Lucci and the others without a word. Immediately after the location where he went, he flew out with Khalifa, and even ignored the matter of exchanging his merits for a big quick knife. "Damn, it's actually Alabasta. How did that little girl Robin know that there is a historical text there?" Fortunately, the speed of Hancock's ship is no less than that of Marine Admiral's ship. If you travel at full speed, you should be able to reach it in 10 days. But they've been out for almost 7 days, even if their speed is slow, the boat given this time is not bad. Definitely not worse than the marine boat that went to Alabasta last time. I hope I can make it in time. Although Lu Chengkong was very angry and even anxious, he did not lose his sanity and calmness, and he knew very well that at such a moment, the more calm he needed to be. After getting on the sea train, Lu Chengkong removed all the carriages behind the train, leaving only the locomotive, and then drove the speed to the maximum. Without any drag, the speed of the sea train should be able to reach the capital of water in half a day. Yes, his boat is also in the water capital. Lone swordsman Juliana, give it up. There are 2 vice admiral and all the members of CF9 here. Even if your strength is stronger than the average vice admiral, but how powerful can you be with 2 burdens? Marine Headquarters Vice Admiral Momanga persuaded with a serious look. Although they have the upper hand in terms of numbers and strength, Juliana has not been in vain for so many years. When she first met Lu Chengkong, her strength was only barely able to fight a vice admiral, but now her strength began to improve by leaps and bounds, especially her state of mind breakthrough. After shattering the previous shadows, she made rapid progress. Now she faces 2 marine vice admirals. Although she can't defeat them, she has absolutely no problem to be even. Don't underestimate me. If you want to take Robin behind me, you can speak with strength. Does Marine have only one mouth? Juliana's face was very ugly at this time. But now she is not the only Nico Robin behind her. There is also a girl who looks almost exactly like her. At least 90% similar. I believe smart readers have guessed who this is. Yes, this is Kuina. After getting to know Juliana, Lu Chengkong was worried that Juliana would lose her daughter as in the original book, so she hinted at when her daughter might be born, but these things are difficult to be strict, so Lu Chengkong can only tell Wan ordered Juliana to find her when she was 10 years old if she didn't want to lose her daughter. Since Lu Chengkong was very serious when he spoke at that time, Juliana, who knew that Lu Chengkong would not speak the vernacular, just went back to find her when Kuina was 10 years old with the idea that she would rather believe it or not. Beside her, at first she thought Lu Chengkong was wrong, but when she saw Juliana rolling down such a high ladder when she was holding the whetstone, she was so frightened that her heart almost fell. Fortunately, she took Nico Robin with her at that time, so Robin used the flower fruit to save Gulena. Then, after some explanation, Kuina knew something about her mother, and she was very dissatisfied with her father, and finally left with Juliana, so Kuina, who was dead in the original book, has now become missing. HMPH, the righteous marine is also something you can insult. Since you refuse to surrender, then you will be dealt with on the spot, come on. Momanga is a vice admiral who is absolutely loyal to Marine. You can tell from his performance in the original book. Now hearing that Juliana actually insulted Marine on the spot, he immediately marked Juliana as a must-kill in his heart. Let me meet you, an arrogant woman. Jabra, the most grumpy, immediately used the shave and rushed down after seeing the order of the commander Momonga this time. HMPH, your Rokushiki is too far from his level. Gulena glanced at Jabra who was rushing towards her with disdain. She suddenly pulled Shiu out of her hand, a dazzling knife with a drawn sword. The light formed a meniscus arc in midair. Poochie. How is it possible? My iron block was broken in one move. Jabra opened his eyes and looked down at the huge knife wound on his chest, and the blood was pouring out, and he shouted in disbelief. Jabra pull, go away, this woman has at least the strength of a swordsman. You idiot, you are going to touch a swordsman's knife with your body. Moon step, Renkyaku, tempest kick chaos. Kaku shouted, double the vacuum slash from the wide area slash made by swiping both feet at high speed in the air flew towards Gulena, and Jabra also instantly turned into a werewolf, with a sudden increase in speed and defense, and suffered a loss. Jabra pulled away immediately. There was nothing he could do. His strongest was iron blocks, and he specialized in iron blocks. He never thought that his strongest iron blocks would be cut by someone in an instant, that's why he did this. Of surprise. Momonga, aren't we going to shoot? Anagumo asked Momonga next to him. No, the potential of CF 9 feet S people is very good, especially that Rob Lucci, but after all, she lacks the opportunity to fight against the masters. This woman's strength is definitely very strong. Although I don't want to admit it, I can't defeat her in a one-on-one situation. This battle is a good baptism for CF9 and them. I believe that CF9 feet S combat effectiveness will be greatly improved after this time, and do you think the three of them can escape under our siege? In that case, it is better to make good use of it. Take this opportunity to maximize your benefits. Quote. Although Momonga is worthy of being the leader this time, although his strength is almost the same as that of Anagumo around him, his wisdom and arrangement are not comparable to Anagumo. At least Anagumo is convinced after hearing Mole's idea. 84084 A close call. Renkyaku Tempest Kick, Lotus Flower. Kaku used Renkyaku Tempest Kick in the sky, chaos, then Rob Lucci immediately cooperated and transformed into a leopard man. His strength suddenly increased to the maximum, and used Renkyaku with the same effect on the ground Tempest Kick Lotus. Bastard, these guys are not very strong individually, but they work together very well. Now I have to protect the two little guys behind me. If you don't come back, Lu Chengkong, the old lady will explain it here today. If it's just one person, she doesn't care even if she faces the attack of all CF9Vs. The problem is that there are still two fuel tanks behind her. At the same time, she has to deal with all the attacks of CF9 and protect the two people behind her. She can't concentrate at all. Attack. It's me again, I just want to know the history, but why does my dream have too many enemies? If it wasn't for me, Juliana wouldn't be like this, because she would be like Saren if she wanted to protect me. I don't want her, I definitely don't want her to die. Nicole Robin thought sadly, but she didn't plan to run away. She didn't want to run away. She had betrayed too many times, this time she didn't want to gone. I'm tired of walking in this life, so it's good to be buried here. Nico Robin thought to himself, and Nico Robin, who had this idea, immediately shot. The Flower of Hell. Nico Robin's strength has improved a lot after Juliana's adjustment. Although it is impossible to defeat anyone in CF9, it is still possible to help Juliana at the right time, just like now Fukuro used the shaving preparation to attack himself and was blocked by Juliana. Robin immediately used the Flower of Hell to grow his arms from the ground to restrain Fukuro's body. That's enough. One knife flow, ghost cut. Juliana finally had a chance to counterattack this time. If she didn't make a move, she would stun the audience. She rushed towards Fukuro like an evil spirit. It's too late to dodge with shaving or dodge with Kami-e. Poochie. A huge stab wound formed on his body, and crimson blood shot away from his body. The huge force hit him like a train, and his whole body was pushed out. Bluno. Rob Lucci's face changed drastically. He didn't expect Gulena, who was passive at the critical moment, to have a tendency to turn over. He immediately shouted, and Bluno immediately knew that he would use door fruit to fly out and hit the wall. Fukuro caught it and brought it back, mainly attacking the two girls behind her. If it was only Rob Lucci, he would never do it. After all, he also has his dignity and bottom line, but now he is carrying out a mission. What he wants is to do whatever he can to complete the mission, and he is behind him. There are two Vice Admiral watching, plus Gulena's strength is too strong for them. If it goes on like this, it is likely to kill the people around him. In front of Kaku's life and death and his self-esteem, he has no hesitation. Choose to throw away the so-called dignity by any means, as it is now. Damn, are Marines so shameless? Juliana yelled indignantly, but she was very bitter, and the thing she was most worried about finally happened. For those of you who violated justice, any means is acceptable. Momonga's expression remained unchanged, and he did not feel ashamed because of CF9's actions, but nodded proudly. I'm dizzy, is this what the boy in the sky said about Marine? Although it's shameless enough, it's no wonder that guy wants to leave Marine. Juliana only has a knife, no matter how strong she is, she will still be besieged by so many people. Even if her strength is good for a long time, she will lose without a doubt. Sister Juliana, you don't have to protect me. If we continue like this, we will all die here. Maybe it's really because God destined the historical text that I can't find it now. It's because I'm too self-sufficient. Yes, it is a very stupid thing to want to touch something that requires extremely strong power without enough power. It will not only harm yourself, but also the people around you. Nicole Luobin said with a look of determination. Juliana didn't expect Nicole Robin, who has always been very obedient, to suddenly say these words. It's just that she can't tolerate a little distraction when fighting. At the time, it was even worse. At the beginning, Juliana was able to win her with the slightest contempt and being used by Lu Chengkong, not to mention that she was at a disadvantage at this time. When she was distracted, Kaku and Rob Lucci immediately grasped this trace. Opportunity for two people to use the moon step side by side. Renkyaku Tempest Kick. The combined Renkyaku Tempest Kick kicked out a vacuum slash that was huge and powerful. The air where she passed was completely cut off, but at this time Juliana was distracted. When the vacuum cut came to her, she came back to her senses. At this time, she knew it was not good. Fight! Juliana's face sank, and she hurriedly mustered up her whole body and raised Shiyu on her right hand like a conditional launch. Boom! The fiery light of the two intersected from the knife, and the powerful force continued to emerge wave after wave like a tidal wave. Juliana, Rob Lucci and Kaku came prepared, but Juliana was very hasty. Knife resistance, the gap between the two is very large. Card wipe. Oops! The horror flashed in Juliana's eyes. She has always used this Shiyu in the face of various opponents. You must know that almost all the enemies are basically her alone. To clean up, her knife is the worst level among the famous knives, and its hardness is also limited. In addition to constantly resisting the vacuum slash kicked by Renkyaku Tempest Kick, she has to rely on this knife to resist every time. There was no counterattack. At this time, the knife finally reached its limit and snapped in half. Kumadori, Bluno. Rob Lucci's face was overjoyed. He didn't expect her weapon to break at the critical moment. Although he was not a swordsman, he also knew that if a swordsman's weapon was broken, it would have a great impact on his strength. Don't say it's such a close call, it's time to race against time. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Chop. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Lotus Flower. Bluno and Kumadori immediately use Renkyaku Tempest Kick Slash and Renkyaku Tempest Kick against Nico Robin and Kuina from the other side. Lianhua, a large-scale vacuum slash shot from the ground to Kuina and the others, and at the same time, Bluno's sword-like vacuum slash above the sky slashed straight at Juliana and the others. Bastard, do you really want to reveal Chengkong's identity? Forget it, if they don't use this weapon, the two of them will be doomed. At this time, Juliana decided to risk revealing Lu Chengkong's identity and planned to pull out the back. When Yoshioka Ikimoka, who had been wrapped in black cloth, let out a sigh of relief, an angry roar came from behind her. "You bastards, Bluno, Lucci, stop me. 85085 Bad influence." What? Hearing such a familiar voice, Rob Lucci and the others' faces became moved. Although they hadn't heard this voice for almost a year, they still immediately knew who the owner of this voice was. It's a pity that at this time Bluno the Renkyaku Tempest Kick of both Kumadori and Kumadori has been kicked out, even if they want to stop. Damn, armament hockey, give me the attack stance. Lu Chengkong, who arrived at the critical moment, couldn't take care of that much anymore. His eyes instantly turned pitch black, his strength instantly turned to the maximum, and the speed of shaving was used to the extreme. Silent. Wu Shi crossed a distance of more than 20 meters and came to Juliana in an instant like Shun Mu. A layer of invisible airflow surrounded his right hand, awakening armament hockey after practicing for so long. Lu Chengkong is the first time to use it. In combat, however, the effect is still very good. Boa Hancock said that armament hockey is the hardest armor if it is to defend, and the hardest blade for attacking, although the current Lu Chengkong is far from what Boa Hancock said, but the two in front of him are the hardest armor. It can still be done by vacuum smashing. This guy is getting stronger and stronger to break the Renkyaku Tempest Kick with his bare hands. Although Rob Lucci was surprised by Lu Chengkong's sudden appearance, he was even more surprised that Lu Chengkong broke the Renkyaku Tempest Kick with his bare hands, but he could see clearly he knew that Lu Chengkong didn't rely on the defensive hardness of the iron to break the Renkyaku Tempest Kick just now. He didn't know hockey, so he thought that Lu Chengkong would break the Renkyaku Tempest Kick with one punch. Bastard, what's going on here? Kaku, please explain to me clearly. Lu Chengshi saw that Juliana had multiple scars on her body in order to protect Nicole Robin, and she suddenly felt a surge in her heart. The anger, not only so, he didn't know why he found that he didn't know how to have a terrible killing intent in his heart, as if he couldn't wait to kill all the people in front of him. Lu Chengkong, you know what you are doing. You are a member of CF9, and you actually defend Marine's enemies, criminal Nico Robin, and rebel Juliana. You know what you are doing now is tantamount to becoming an enemy of the world government. Momonga didn't expect that the moment of success, she killed a Cheng Yaojin, and someone from the Marine headquarters immediately questioned. If it's just Rob Lucci and the others who can't come to Nicole Robin, then it must be you guys, damn you. Lu Chengkong's eyes that were as dark as ink and deep like a black hole actually burst out with intense anger, and icy murderous aura emanated from his body. It was the usual Lu Chengkong. No matter how angry he was, he wouldn't turn into a qualified person, but since he woke up hockey, that mysterious dream actually came to Lu Chengkong without being injured. Meet the man with demon wings in the dream. Rokushiki or even mirror fruit in his dreams, even if his strength was the same as reality, but what was strange was how Lu Chengkong resisted. Rokushiki's ability was completely against him. Ineffective. If it hits him, it can penetrate directly, but if the man with devil wings hits him, he will feel the same pain as reality. This kind of dream is too realistic. And every time when Lu Chengkong is about to be killed, he wakes up. He has been having repeated dreams every night since he learned hockey. He has tried countless methods and the result is that he was almost killed. The end of the killing, but on the night that Lu Chengkong awakened hockey, he used armament hockey with the idea of giving it a try. Obviously, hockey had just awakened at that time, and his power was very weak, but he was able to fight against demons. The winged man will not directly pass through his body as before. Now that there is a way to fight, after being chased and killed in the dream for so long, it is time for him to fight back, so from that time on he wakes up and experiences life and death training hockey. Using hockey and the devil wing man at night after fighting, he came to a conclusion that the results of the battle he experienced in the dream can actually be brought to reality. That is, the battle between him and the demon wingman hockey is more and more skilled, and when he uses it in reality it also has the same effect. If hockey is stronger in the dream, then the same is true in reality. So Lu Chengkong was passive from the beginning, but in the end, he actively waited for the man with devil wings to come to him every day, and he started fighting without saying a word when he met. This made Lu Chengkong Hockey's cultivation speed increase in a straight line, several times faster than Khalifa's, making Boa Hancock, who had been watching Lu Chengkong's cultivation, stunned and exclaimed in wonder. It's just that everything has a good side and a bad side, just like the devil fruit has powerful and magical abilities but has many limitations and weaknesses, such as land ducks. The same is true of the magical dream that Lu Chengkong experienced. Although it can make his hockey practice a lot faster and integrate into the battle more quickly, it has a bad effect that Lu Chengkong has not noticed now, that is, his temper is getting worse and worse. The more irritable, the easier it is to kill. If he encounters something that makes him unhappy or angry, it is difficult for him to control his killing intent, just like now, but he himself did not notice it at all. I just thought that Juliana's injury made me so angry that I wanted to kill myself. Hey, if I kill the two of you, do you think Marine will know it's me? And even if she does, what if I, Lu Chengkong, are no longer a member of CF9 from now on, since the world government dares to hurt me? Friends, then I will ask them to pay everyone, even if you are unlucky today. Lu Chengkong's voice was extremely cold, and he completely abandoned all his previous scruples. This was the effect of that mysterious dream on him. This was especially true when his eyes turned pitch black. At this time, Lu Chengkong was almost unable to control his killing intent. He only had one thought in his heart, that is to kill. Haha, I laughed so hard. Who do you think you are, and make the world government pay the price, but since you say these words, then you are a traitor and dare to defend Marine's enemy, then you are. Momanga Dunya disdainfully when he laughed. His voice was full of ridicule towards Lu Chengkong, as if he was laughing at Lu Chengkong's self-control. Really, mirror clone, there was a hideous smile on the corner of Lu Chengkong's mouth. At this moment, he just wanted to kill the two vice admirals in front of him. No one could stop him, no one could. 86086 Vice Admiral. Shaved silenced, Haki Shigan, finger pistol. 3 identical Lu Chengkong with dark eyes like ink appeared in Momanga's line of sight. As a Vice Admiral Momanga, he still has very rich combat experience. When he saw that there were 2 more Lu Chengkongs, he didn't laugh at the other party as a clone that confuses him, but concentrated on fighting back at any time. Break it for me. Lu Chengkong's expression remained unchanged. Instead of retreating, he advanced, his aura continued to increase, and the smile on his mouth became more and more hideous and gloomy. Finger pistol moves to attack, speed and power are more powerful. A piercing metal crash sounded into everyone's ears. What Rob Lucci and others couldn't believe was that Lu Chengkong didn't seem to be at a disadvantage when confronting Vice Admiral Momanga head-on. Looking at it, you will find that Lu Chengkong can't beat Vice Admiral alone. He can be on par with Vice Admiral in this attack entirely because Lu Chengkong is the first to attack, and it is still 2 clones in one shot, 3. At the same time, the individual used the trick to hit the opponent by surprise. There are often 2 situations in battle. 1, or you can preempt the opponent until you are overwhelmed to death. Once you are overturned by the opponent, then your momentum will be weakened. It is basically difficult to go down. 2. Either it is a late attack, waiting for the opportunity to consume the opponent's physical strength, and at the moment when the opponent reveals his flaws, he bursts out his most powerful attack and catches the opponent by surprise. Now Lu Chengkong's battle is the first one. If you can't completely suppress Vice Admiral Momanga, it is very dangerous. After all, the opponent's strength is stronger than Lu Chengkong. Vice Admiral is also Vice Admiral, a real powerhouse. Hockey, you might have learned to use hockey. Vice Admiral Momanga is a powerhouse only below Admiral's in Marine. Although his strength is far worse than Admiral's, he can't be underestimated, at least he is absolutely much stronger than the current Lu Chengkong. Gia, otherwise you think that Marine's people will not be able to learn if they are integrated into hockey. Today I will show you what is called leapfrog combat, defeating the strong with the weak, Renkyaku Tempest Kick Banyalong 3 combos. Lu Chengkong didn't notice his strangeness at all at this time, and the murderous aura on his body was getting bigger and bigger. If Boa Hancock was here at this time, he would definitely find Lu Chengkong had that kind of weird aura that appeared when he faced her conqueror Haki. However, compared to that time, Lu Chengkong's breath was stronger at this time, and 3 Lu Chengkong shot at the same time, surrounded by a yellow triangle of Vice Admiral moles. 3 blue and white angry dragons covered by armament Haki roared at Vice at the same time. Admiral Momonga rushed over. The power of Renkyaku Tempest Kick at such a close distance is already great, not to mention the enhanced version of Renkyaku Tempest Kick Raging Dragon and can still use Haki. At this moment, Lu Chengkong can fully understand why the mysterious girl likes this fruit so much. It's simply amazing. The clone has everything of the main body. With the improvement of strength, it has more. Now even Haki can use it. Also confirmed Lu Chengkong's guess. Damn, this little devil is so difficult to deal with, sticking to my side so tightly that my great sword can't keep a distance and exert its due strength. Vice Admiral Momonga's expression is a bit heavy. His great sword is not Zoro, Gulina's kind of sword, but a great sword with a lot of punches compared to those great swords. So to maximize the power of this great sword, it is necessary to there is a certain distance, but now Lu Chengkong is sticking close to him like a snake and constantly attacking him. For a time, he can only passively resist Lu Chengkong's powerful offensive wave after wave, waiting for the opportunity to counterattack at the moment when Lu Chengkong's offensive slowed down. I don't believe that your strength is worse than mine, and you can continue to attack like this. When your attack slows down, you will die. Vice Admiral Momonga's eyes flashed with murderous light, wanting to come to everyone. It's also very strange why Vice Admiral Momonga would have murderous intent towards Lu Chengkong. Logically speaking, Marine would not kill Lu Chengkong until he had no choice but to clarify Lu Chengkong's identity, or that mysterious girl came out to clarify. Empty. He and Onagumo didn't go to the marine that came out of Sabayati Archipelago. After all, with Admiral going, it's not superfluous for them to go, plus Marine and Tenryubito tried their best to block the news after the incident. You know, everyone has been invited to drink, kiss coffee, so people who know the inside story will never talk nonsense. Even if he heard some deeds about Lu Chengkong, Isha would ignore it without his own confirmation, so now he simply thinks that Lu Chengkong is a son of a big family, but since he betrayed Marine, no matter who it is, must die. Apparently he is a typical diehard Marine like Akainu. That's why Vice Admiral Momonga will do everything in her heart and will make up her mind to kill Lu Chengkong here. After all, how can Marine talk nonsense about these shameful things about Marine? Those who know the secret must keep the secret in their heart, otherwise they can only ask those who know the secret leave this world, so today only one person can survive between Lu Chengkong and Momonga. As for Onagumo on the other side, Khalifa has already beaten him up, and Rob Lucci and the others are because of Lu Chengkong. He didn't make another move, but stood aside to see the situation clearly. Vice Admiral Momonga's conjecture has been established. If Lu Chengkong's strength is stronger than him or not inferior to him, then it will not be a problem to be completely crushed by the ability of Haki and the fruit, but the problem is that Lu Chengkong's strength is not comparable to Vice Admiral's. So after a few minutes of Lu Chengkong's crazy Rokushiki onslaught, the action began to slow down, and Vice Admiral Momonga, who had been forbearing, immediately seized this rare opportunity to see the needle. Go to hell, Marine traitor who has blasphemed justice, slashing the wind with a single sword. Vice Admiral Momonga roared. His eyes were full of ruthless murderous intent, and he swung the big sword in his hand, giving people a terrifying sense of oppression. The huge sword energy visible to the naked eye condensed from the blade of the big sword and slashed ruthlessly against the most powerful body, Lu Chengkong, who had 100% strength. 87-087 The Devil Awakens. Boom. Because the distance between the two is not far away, and the timing of Vice Admiral Momonga's grasp is really good, and the speed of this move is so fast, where the thick sword chi passes, it even cuts a deep line on the ground. The crack of the fire shot towards Lu Chengkong. If you want to kill me, it's up to you, don't even think about it. Lu Chengkong, can go from being empty to the present, rising from the last minute, and now is the time for me to soar into the sky, just rely on you. Vice Admiral just wanted to kill me, it was just a dream, armament hockey fully opened, life returned, steel body. Looking at the huge sword energy coming towards the face, the air was completely chopped up, and there was no air as a block. Yes, Lu Chengkong, whose soul was shrouded in the breath of death, roared loudly, and with his jet black eyes, it gave a feeling of a demon rising. Chengkong's potential was instantly triggered, his brain full of crazy killing intent suddenly became clear, and the words of Boa Hancock suddenly echoed in his ears, challenging death, experiencing death, feeling death, transcending death. When your hockey is strong enough to make you transcend life and death, then you are the real hockey supreme. Block me, Lu Chengkong roared, and armament hockey covered his body to form an armor with amazing defensive power. At the same time, the muscles of the whole body suddenly tightened as strong as steel. In the face of powerful slashes, he could not dodge or dodge. Using the shaved foot to continue to charge towards Vice Admiral Momonga. If you want to resist my sword skills, raise the momentum to the limit and press me down again. Don't even think about it. You are not the only one who knows Rokushiki. Any Vice Admiral is a master of using Rokushiki, Renkyaku, Tempest Kick raging. Vivi raised the corner of Momonga's mouth, sneered in his heart, and kicked out his right foot suddenly, forming countless small vacuum slashes in front of him at the same speed as the sickle wind and flying towards Lu Chengkong. Gotta wreak havoc. I dare to challenge even death, and even have the courage to experience death. Am I still afraid of these slashes? Lu Chengkong thought to himself. When this idea appeared, he only felt that his brain lightened, as if there was some kind of seal. The things in the brain broke open the seal and surged out. In an instant, with Lu Chengkong's body as the center, an extremely strong momentum erupted from his body like a whirlwind. It seems to have ignored the distance and directly descended on Momonga. The powerful oppression not only hit his body, but also sent waves of terrifying shocks to his spirit, causing him to continue to use his sword. The hands actually stopped. It's an opportunity, life is returned. Blast! Lu Chengkong immediately used life to return to spread his spiritual consciousness on his feet. In an instant, Lu Chengkong only felt that he could perfectly control every muscle and toenail on his feet. Even the hair on the pores, and these muscles, toes, toenails, and even the hair in the pores seem to have the wisdom of Lu Chengkong, and can make various changes. Shaving is no longer a simple step on the ground. Dozens of times, but all the parts above both feet stepped on the ground together, and the rebound force that erupted in combination was unimaginable. Go to hell, Hockey Shigen, finger pistol. Lu Chengkong knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he must seize it. In order to increase his speed to the extreme, Lu Chengkong used the return of his life to not be able to separate his spiritual consciousness. The feet make any part of the feet seem to have an independent consciousness. As long as Lu Chengkong thinks, those parts will make corresponding changes according to Lu Chengkong's thoughts, just like Kumadori's hair in the original book grows longer. Then use Shigen finger pistol like a finger, but Lu Chengkong's return of life is more advanced and complete than his incomplete version of return of life. Puchi. No, impossible, even if you learn hockey, you can't be the king's aptitude. There is only one conqueror hockey, in a million people. The owner, no, you're not a conqueror, you. What exactly is your hockey? He lowered his head when a huge tearing pain came from his chest and forced Momonga's trance back from the shock of Lu Chengkong's sudden burst of strange hockey. Looking at the blood that was punched out of his chest, he held his breath and reluctantly said a paragraph of words intermittently. Yes, I'm just an ordinary person. I don't have the qualifications of a king, and I'm not a chosen person. As for this hockey, I want to call it a devil-colored hockey. You can be the first person to try this hockey. He should have died properly. The murderous intent and violence in Lu Chengkong's eyes disappeared at a tidal speed. At this moment, Lu Chengkong not only regained his composure, but also understood everything about himself, even that one. The meaning of the existence of the mysterious dream is also understood. It turned out that all the strange changes in Lu Chengkong's body, such as entering the mysterious dream after being seriously injured. The body injury will recover at an alarming speed, and the meaning of this dream, the changes in himself after cultivating Haki, why use Haki to be in the dream inflicting index finger damage to the man with demon wings, etc. He had already understood all the doubts that he had been puzzled before after Lu Chenggong broke out the Haki that he named the demon color. It was brought about by the fruit that had a striking resemblance to the devil fruit that I ate when I was on Earth. To put it simply, that fruit is just its shape. Although it looks very similar to a devil fruit, it is not a devil fruit at all, but it can also be said that it is a devil fruit. Why? Because there is a word in the middle of the devil fruit, and the devil fruit of One Piece, King of Pirates, are two completely different ignorance. I didn't expect that thing to be a kind of blood cohesion, something that transforms the constitution like a rubber fruit, but my transformation is much more advanced than the rubber man in the devil fruit, which is similar to the rubber fruit transformation, because it is not only transforming my constitution, my body can transform my soul. For so many years, I have been transforming my body and soul, but the speed of transformation is too slow. The only way to speed up the speed is that the body has suffered huge trauma. When life is threatened, the potential will explode. It is also a transformation of the body. The transformation of the soul is to defeat the demon spirit, the man with demon wings, in the mysterious dream, or to understand the so-called demonic Haki. In the process before these two methods succeed, my temper will become more and more grumpy. It is easy to have negative emotions, and even uncontrollable killing intent. Haki or defeat the demon spirit before my mind is controlled by these killing intents. I will replace it with the demon spirit, and it will cease to exist in the future. It's really luck. I didn't expect the incident with Gulena this time. With the stimulation of Hancock and Hancock's words, I got through the biggest difficulty by chance. Lu Chenggong thought to himself. Momonga's Adam's apple rolled up and down, and he used all his strength as if to say something, but in the end he could only spit out two words of, I, and then fell to the ground weakly, his vitality already gone. All gone. 88088 Destroy Vice Admiral. In fact, what Lu Chenggong didn't know was that this so-called devil fruit was not simply formed by the condensed blood of a demon, but was made from the blood and condensed combination of many various demons and beasts. The gap is huge, but these are no longer important to the current Lu Chenggong. The most important thing is that Lu Chenggong is very happy now, because he not only solved the mysteries in his body for many years, but also solved all the hidden dangers in his body at one time, the moment he realized the demonic Haki just now. Spirit, that is, the winged man composed of the souls of many demons and beasts, has been completely killed and swallowed by Lu Chenggong, and he has also completely accepted the inheritance of blood. It turns out that my eyes turned black as the so-called demonization, but I hadn't killed and devoured the demon spirit at that time, so I couldn't use the complete demonization of playing, now. Should I look for it? How about someone try it? Lu Chenggong glanced around with malicious eyes, and when he looked at the other Vice Admiral Onagumo, he was speechless. Khalifa seemed to be worried about himself and her gun, one after another hot and full of holy breath. The holy light was turned into a sword by Khalifa and was continuously thrown at Onagumo. It is not unreasonable why the Logia fruit is the strongest fruit. Although it is not completely correct, in the early stage when the opponent does not have Haki, and the Logia ability person develops the ability of Logia to a certain extent, then the basic it is at least invincible in the face of people who do not know Haki. To Khalifa, which is still the top Logia fruit of light, it needs speed and speed, destructive power and recovery power. Not as good as Onagumo, but with the speed of elementalization and light, he constantly releases long-range attacks to press him to fight. It's miserable. Fortunately I broke through, awakened the demon Haki, and solved all the hidden dangers. Otherwise I really can't compare to Khalifa, but now I'm not afraid even if Khalifa's strength is several times stronger. Lu Chong, thinking that he was going to be protected by Khalifa, he suddenly felt a bit heavenly, and at the same time, he was glad that he had gained a lot just now, otherwise he would really not dare to come out and mix in the future. Lucci, from the moment I shot Vice Admiral, our relationship has been hostile, and maybe one day we will become enemies of life and death. Okay, don't say anything, listen to me, as a former comrade in arms I have a word of advice. You are basically brought up by the world government, so you all think the world government is very good. See what kind of world it is and what kind of marine it is. The last sentences don't kill any of you because of the reasons of the world government or the so-called tasks and ideas. You can still do it after the task is gone, but if you die, there is nothing left. I will not make it difficult for you to do it. After you go back, say that the two vice admiral tried their best to protect you two and held off the two of us in the final defeat. Dead people can't speak. You can go. Don't leave me alone when you meet next time, as long as you are still CF9. Day. Lu Chenghong stared at everyone in front of CF9 with a pair of bright eyes. Although he knew from the first day he entered CF9 that he and Khalifa would leave one day, he didn't expect it to be so fast, and his own I feel so reluctant in my heart, thinking about it, these people have been with me for many years, and they have established a deep friendship, but when thinking about the identities of both sides at this time, Lu Chenghong had no choice but to not all of these will be collected. Next time we meet, we won't keep our hands, and don't die. Rob Lucci took Fukuro, Bluno, Jabra, Kaku, and Kumadori a deep look at Lu Chenghong, then turned and left, the only one left behind as a word. Khalifa, stop playing, just kill it. Lu Chenghong immediately said to her, looking at Onagumo, who was being suppressed by Khalifa. Okay, the binding of light. Khalifa responded, and then the circles of light circles wrapped around Onagumo's body at the speed of light. You must know that this ability is an elemental flower that can stop the ability user. At the beginning, the ability of the fruit was better than that of Kesh. Kettle is so much worse than Khalifa that it can restrain Crocodile for less than a second, let alone now, and whether the battle is won or lost, life and death are often changed in less than 1 second, just like now. The Blade of Light. Khalifa's jade hand was facing the void of Onagumo, and at a distance of tens of meters, Khalifa's jade hand suddenly burst out with a ray of light like a sharp blade. His body, not only that, the temperature of this blade of light is very high, and the hot blade that entered Onagumo's body directly evaporated all his internal organs and died instantly. Okay, now we're about to slap Marine in the face. Let's go, it's time to go to Sky Island. Lu Chenghong took Khalifa's jade hand and said softly, while not forgetting to ask Ji Yulian who was behind him not at all. Juliana might as well put Nico Robin and Kuina in the daughter's country, which is the country of the other 3 girls I was with at the time. You can see it, Boa Hancock, it's her. If you put it in her, you can let her teach Kuina and Robin to learn hockey, so that after a period of time, Marine's wind is not so tight to find them too, otherwise you will die with the 2 of them in the face of Marine's pursuit. Okay, I actually met that woman once. That should be the first time she came out to be a pirate. I felt a strong sense of oppression just by looking at her, as if facing the sea. I can rest assured if you put it with her. Quote. Ji Yuliana nodded and did not refuse. Although she was reluctant to part with Kuina, the daughter she had finally met, she also had to part with Nico Robin, but she was not unreasonable. Of course she knew what Lu Chenghong said. For their good. Her strength is at the admiral level. Marine would have to dispatch 3 admirals to kill her completely. Now the new world is just about to calm down. How could 3 of Marine's admirals go to the Amazon Lily Island at the same time? So you can rest assured, basically every woman in Lily Island can use hockey, although there are strong and weak, but Marine will not attack Lily Island as long as they are not all stupid. Lu Chenghong said with relief immediately. 89,089 reward. Mom, don't worry, I know that following you with my current strength is also a drag. I will definitely become very strong when we meet next time, and I will definitely not be a burden to you. Juliana Nico Robin and Nicole Robin glanced at each other, and both saw a hint of desire to become stronger in each other's eyes, and then they both said in unison. Okay, they're all my good daughters, but you're not my drag. They weren't before, they're not now, and they won't be in the future. Juliana's eyes suddenly became wet, but she was a strong woman and didn't let her tears. She fell down, held back her tears, and then gently hugged the two women in her arms and said with a choked voice. After getting on the boat that Hancock gave him, Lu Chengkong and the others could return to Lily Island even if the HNA skills were poor under the guidance of the recording pointer. Wow, it's really all women's. This island is really weird. Kuina used to be alone, and when she was with the people in the gym, she became stronger and practiced swords, but her after all, she is only 12 years old, that is, 2 years older than Zoro. She is not as young as Lu Chengkong with an adult soul. She had always been affected by the environment and had to mature, but now there is no oppression. With Nico Robin's company, the innocence that belongs to her age began to slowly appear, just like now. Chengkong, now I have completely believed your words. It's just bullshit that a woman can't be the #1 swordsman in the world. There is such an incomparably powerful aura in the castle in front. Even if it is the #1 swordsman in the world, I think it is about the same level. Juliana said with deep emotion. Lu Chengkong kept instilling these thoughts when he was with Lu Chengkong before, but he always felt a little uneasy in his heart without seeing it with his own eyes. Now that she has personally felt the powerful momentum of Boa Hancock, she has completely believed it, and at the same time, she no longer has any distractions in her heart. At this time, she is full of stamina for the road to the world's #1 swordsman. Robin is very at ease here. Now you can rest assured to pursue your swordsmanship. Lu Chengkong was also very happy when he saw Juliana's relieved look. Chengkong, you're finally here. If you didn't say go back to Annie's lobby to get something, why is there a reward now? Just as Lu Chengkong was about to say something, Boa Hancock's worried voice immediately came from the front. Juliana, only I feel like a flower in front of me. I don't know when a woman in a cheongsam, tall, plump, bumpy, and gorgeous, even if Juliana thinks she is a beauty, it's not bad, but watching after arriving at Boa Hancock, I couldn't help but feel ashamed. It's so beautiful. Even a firm-minded swordsman like Juliana was fascinated by Boa Hancock's invisible charm, not to mention Nico Robin and Kuina. At this time, the two girls' both eyes turned into two red hearts, and they said involuntarily, I've been offered a reward. Let me see. Lu Chengkong Bibi was stunned for a moment, but he came back to his senses soon after. If he and Khalifa killed 2 vice admirals, no matter what, Marine must offer a reward. At the same time, Lu Chengkong also understood that the identities of himself and Khalifa and others should have been revealed. Killed 2 vice admiral, very vicious. I admit the previous sentence, but I am very vicious, but it seems that Marine really wants to get rid of me now. 80 million from the beginning. Obviously not as strong as Hancock, but from Marine's point of view, my threat seems to be no less than that of Hancock. Lu Chengkong thought to himself as he looked at the photo he didn't know when it was taken. Khalifa is yours. Boa Hancock is very happy now. Although he is a little worried about the danger of Lu Chengkong being hunted down after he becomes a pirate, he is more happy and joyful, because then they will not after being separated. She no longer has to suffer from that kind of separation, the pain of parting. Mine. Khalifa's face brightened. When she heard Lu Chengkong said that he had killed 2 vice admirals, she thought that Marine had pushed everything on Lu Chengkong and was a little unhappy, but now she heard that she could give Lu Chengkong shared and still has the same identity as Lu Chengkong as before. She smiled like a flower, and it seemed like the spring sunshine gave people a warm and comfortable feeling. Of course, Khalifa, maybe your fruit ability has already been known, so your bounty is the same as mine. Bright fruit tisk tisk. Marine is a headache now. Once you have admiral level strength, they won't be Vice Admiral Garp. Shoot with Marshal Sengoku, otherwise they won't dare to come to you. Boa Hancock was happy for her when he saw Khalifa's happy expression. After all, if it wasn't for Khalifa before, she might not have developed as fast as Lu Chengkong. But first think Marine and the others are more afraid of Chengkong, because Chengkong has never used the fruit ability in front of them until now, and the people who see it are either trustworthy or dead, so I think they are more afraid of Chengkong. Khalifa tilted her head and thought about the analysis. It's reasonable for you to analyze it this way, but your bounty isn't bad either. Like Sky, it has 80 million. Boa Hancock said in agreement. Hee hee, If Sky's fruit ability is known to them, maybe his bounty will be higher. By the way, Hancock, we will leave for Sky Island soon, what should you do? Khalifa asked, changing the subject. Follow me, of course, how can such a good thing leave me? Boa Hancock said with his own heart. But what if you left Lily Island? Lu Chengkong said worriedly, but he didn't want to cause any bad problems to Lily Island when she left because of Boa Hancock's anger. I've already found a candidate, and I'm teaching her to use hockey now, and to my surprise, I didn't expect that there would be a second chosen person besides me in Lily Island. Maybe I was practicing hockey before, so I didn't pay much attention to it, now I'm unofficial and light. Boa Hancock said with a look of joy, looking at her appearance, it seemed that it was a good thing not to be the queen. Oh, besides you, there is another person who owns Conqueror Hockey. Who is it? Lu Chengkong was also interested. The description of Lily Island in the original book doesn't seem to be too much. As far as she knows, no one except Boa Hancock is. There is a Conqueror Hockey. It's the little girl who brought the two of you here, Margaret. Boa Hancock didn't hide his hand and replied, completely ignoring that this is the secret of Amazon Lily Island and can't be said. The previous emperor knew that he would be so angry that he would vomit blood again. 9090 Depart from Sky Island. What happened to her? Didn't she awaken hockey before? I saw her use hockey at that time. If she was a conqueror, you should have known it earlier. Lu Chengkong said in disbelief. Hee, it's hard to say. Many conqueror owners may not be able to wake up until they die, so how can they be known if they can't wake up? And hockey's awakening is all at once, and it's not that there is no conqueror. For the first time, the owner did not awaken conqueror, but awakened armament or observation hockey. This is the case with Margaret. She awakened armament for the first time, followed by observation hockey. She awakened the Conqueror Hockey and I didn't know she was the owner of the Conqueror, Boa Hancock explained. Oh, I understand, there is no Conqueror owner except you in Lily Island. You were practicing before, and you never used Conqueror Hockey to oppress her, so you can't see that she has Conqueror aura. Now when you started teaching her, you must have used Conqueror to constantly oppress her in order to increase her cultivation speed, so you found out that she has Conqueror. Lu Chengkong immediately understood. That's right, she practiced with Kikyo before, and her first awakening was not Conqueror, so Kikyo also thought that she didn't have the qualifications of a king, and Conqueror's awakening often required huge stimulation or extreme emotional passivity can only appear, and she has been very calm for so many years and has never experienced great joy and sorrow. Moreover, her mind is very simple, protected by Kikyo and others. How can she be stimulated? So I only know now. She has the qualities of a king. Boa Hancock is also a little speechless. After all, if she can find out that she also has the qualifications of a king earlier, and cultivate her early, then she will be able to go out to sea and be with Lu Chengkong early in the morning. Why do you need to wait so many years? But she just started now, right? Can she be okay if you leave? Lu Chengkong said a little worriedly. After all, whether it was because of Boa Hancock or because he had a crush on that Margaret, no matter what the reason was, he didn't care. It's a little worrying. Don't worry, as a concubine's apprentice, her aptitude is very good, and she has endured hardships. Now Conqueror can appear from time to time, although she can't use it at any time like Armament and Conqueror, and she can't control it freely. But since the Conqueror has appeared, it is the best to let the former emperor teach her. Her experience is much richer than that of the concubine, and her strength is not bad. Lily Island was the best when she came. Boa Hancock recklessly put all the responsibility on the previous emperor, but he wanted to be happy. If that's the case, let's go. With Boa Hancock's assurance and explanation, Lu Chengkong was relieved. After all, there are so many accidents in this world. Just as he completed the change of the constitution before, Lucci et al. Cannibalism, Marine suddenly didn't care about the false identity he fabricated. Wasn't this an accident that he expected? So he tried his best to be fully prepared, even if an accident occurred, he would be able to face it. Hey, Don't pull me down. I haven't been to Sky Island. I just heard about it. I want to go to such a fun thing. And the environment above 10,000 meters in the sky told my kendo practice maybe there is help from outside the barley. Juliana said, looking at Lu Chengkong and the three of them, ignoring her and immediately chasing after them. Ah, sorry, I thought you were still a solo swordsman to challenge your opponent. This time, I'm just going to explore the secrets of Sky Island, and by the way, I can see if there are any unexpected gains, and the environment of the 10,000-meter high altitude is very difficult for me. It's a challenge for people like us who go there for the first time. There are not many experts there, so I thought you would not go. Lu Chengkong looked a little embarrassed. After all, he really ignored the existence of Juliana just now. HMPH, I want to forgive you, unless you have a fight with me. Juliana won't forgive Lu Chengkong so easily. After all, this kind of opportunity is still very rare. Although she has made rapid progress, her progress is also not slow after breaking down the hurdles. In Lu Chengkong's words, he is not the only one who can make progress, so it is not so easy to catch up with Juliana. After all, the other party already has the strength of a swordsman before Lu Chengkong knew her. The past few years have passed. Her strength has also improved a lot, and she will definitely lose against Vice Admiral, except for Logia of course. Okay, it's really a fighting maniac, but I'm not going to Sky Island to talk about it now. Lu Chengkong's face stiffened, but after thinking about Juliana's strength that surpassed ordinary Vice Admiral, he thought about it and agreed. After all, fighting with people who are stronger than himself is of great help in improving his strength. Now he does not have the dream of the devil as an assistant to cultivate hockey. Everything can only be improved by his own understanding in battle. Just when Lu Chengkong and his party boarded Boa Hancock's big ship and headed to Sky Island, the office of the Marine headquarters also started a special meeting because of the existence of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa and others. You must know that in addition to Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, other big pirates can often gather all the high-end combat power of the Marine headquarters for meetings, but not many people can receive this treatment. Now Lu Chengkong, Khalifa and others can often make them very lazy with their strengths that are not at the level of big pirates. The Garp, Kuzan and others gathered together and have to say it was a miracle. Sengoku, you actually want them both, doesn't that look like you? Are you so righteous? Garp pointed his nostrils and looked at Sengoku suspiciously, completely ignoring the appearance of his blue veins. Asshole, Garp, if you don't talk, no one says you're dumb, you bastard. You often eat donuts, pick your nose, snore and sleep in the marshal's office, and you're still fighting against me now. It's not that I have a long life, you want to make me mad and then give me a stick of incense when you go to worship Roger. Sengoku roared angrily, that is, this guy Garp dared to do this to himself. Che, didn't you become a great Buddha? Isn't the Buddha going to ascend to heaven? Isn't going to the West Heaven the highest realm of Buddha cultivation? I'm not thinking about you yet. Garp whispered, but he completely forgot what he said. How lethal it is when it comes out. You can see how hard Kuzan and the others are holding back their laughter. 91091 World Famous. Bastard, you kill 1,000 knives. I don't even bother to talk about you. Maybe it was because he was so angry, and he was so angry that Sengoku couldn't say why. Let's not talk nonsense. I want to hunt down those two people with all my strength, and if they find it, they will be killed immediately, no need to live. Sengoku suddenly put away the blue veins on his forehead, and commanded in a very calm tone. I want to know what's going on. Kizaru glanced at Kuzan and Akainu. One was sleeping and the other was eager to rush out to find Lu Chengkong and Khalifa to settle the account. He was a little speechless. Why didn't he ask clearly? Then he would be caught by Sengoku. What should I do if the resourceful general is trapped? The old man and he have been officials in the same dynasty for so many years, and they have known his character a lot, and he has cheated a lot. You two children are so calm and impulsive. Isn't it cheap for him? Look at it for yourself. Sengoku seemed to have been prepared for a long time. Apart from being pissed off by Garp at the beginning, he looked refreshed, and he didn't seem to be bothered by Lu Chengkong before. Kizaru looked carefully at what Sengoku came in, and after reading it, he immediately understood the seal of the dragon below. It turned out that it was the Lord, although the two of them were the Lord's fancy, but they didn't say that they were indispensable. If they grow up, it's okay to say, but it says inside, we don't need to worry so much. If they die, it proves that they are at this level. If they can survive under our Marine's full pursuit, then we have no face. What did you say? Sengoku said with a smug look on his face. Thinking about it too, they have always been struggling to support Liu Chenggong because they don't know if Liu Chenggong and the two are the indispensable candidates for that adult. Now it seems obvious that this lord is the two of them that he likes, and it's not the most important thing. Since that lord has written to say that he doesn't need to worry so much and pursues with all his strength, then Sengoku is of course happy, and the sullenness in his heart can finally come out. The villain is successful. I didn't know who had a bitter face before. Garp obviously couldn't see Sengoku's pride. Although his voice was small, the worst strength in the field was admiral level. How could he hide this voice? Their perception, Sengoku, who was still very proud, suddenly turned blue-purple. Hey, the old man has something to do. By the way, it seems that Luffy wrote to me and said that he misses the old man very much. Then Sengoku, I will take a vacation for a while. See you when I have time. Garp did not give Sengoku a chance to refuse immediately after he finished speaking. The jerk ran away. I seem to remember that his grandson was very afraid of him, right? Why did he take the initiative to find him? And he wrote a letter. Kuzan asked blankly, picking up the blindfold on his head. Idiot, it's obviously Garp's excuse. Forget it, don't think I don't know what that guy is thinking. Now, besides the pirates in the New World, the most important thing is to get rid of Khalifa and Liu Chenggong. One is the ability of the Fruit of Light. It's hard to kill her if she wants to escape after she grows up. Although the other one doesn't know what his fruit can be, I think it's also a high-end product. It's really tricky. If it weren't for the new century, Admiral would still need to guard me. I really want you to go after them yourself. Sengoku said with a bit of a headache, although he can attack Liu Chenggong and Liu Chenggong unscrupulously now, but Marine's high-end combat power is contained. There are 4 emperors in the New World, and the Revolutionary Army in the first half of the Great Channel, although Marine also has Shichibukai to help contain it. But Sengoku knew very well that these Shichibukai would never mind if something unexpected happened in Marine, so they still had to rely on their own family members, but now the problem came out. Garp with the most available and highest combat power actually sneaked back to East Blue under various excuses, obviously worried that he would attack Roger's son Ace. Hey, it's really troublesome, that guy Garp doesn't believe me too much. I just attacked once. If I want to attack, I can go by myself. You can still defend me every day. Really, Sengoku. I was very upset and thought, completely forgetting how I used Garp to find Rouge before. How about that Boa Hancock? Although I haven't met her, it is no doubt that she can use Conqueror Haki's strength, and she has a good relationship with Liu Chenggong Khalifa. How do you plan to deal with it? Kizaru suddenly remembered another Boa Hancock asked right away. This is easy to handle. Shichibukai seems to be one person away. Send someone to the Amazon Lily Island to invite her to Shichibukai, but remember that you must not step into the daughter country. You can talk outside. Sengoku obviously already has it. What is the plan of the whole? It can be said that he can talk about it freely, and he is not afraid of having the style of a marshal pointing the country. What if I refuse? Kizaru had to think carefully about this. After all, the intelligence said that the relationship between them was very good, and the possibility of refusal was very high. If Boa Hancock is just her, then I won't waste time and effort to invite her to join Shichibukai, but there is a Lily Island behind her. Our Marine's HNA technology has become more and more mature. I believe it will not take long to be able to overcome the Windless Belt, and as a queen, she will definitely think about her country, explain the interests of her, and she will basically join, and maybe it may alienate their relationship a bit. Sengoku looked relieved, but he didn't know that Boa Hancock had followed Liu Chenggong to Sky Island, and he didn't know that Boa Hancock was not the Boa Hancock of the original book, but she could abandon everything for Lu Chengkong. It can be seen that the former emperor of the previous generation had murderous intent towards Lu Chengkong, and she immediately became furious, so this time Sengoku's plan is very likely to have a cup. Unless Lu Chengkong asks Boa Hancock to agree, otherwise Sengoku is doomed to fail. At the same time, the four sovereigns of the New World looked at the bounties from two people. These two were Lu Chengkong and Khalifa. They had Yishi's unique intelligence ability. Tenryubido's kneeling was hidden. A lot of people, but they couldn't hide from the four emperors at all, so they were surprised when they saw Lu Chengkong and Khalifa defecting to Marine and killing Vice Admiral. The first time there was a reward of 80 million. Kula la la la, Sengoku, you have suffered a lot now, but these two little babies surprised me. One is the fruit of light, and should also use Haki. The other, although the fruit's ability is unknown, but it won't be weak after thinking about it. It's getting more and more interesting. I really hope that the two of you can grow up, and then there will be two more pirates who really pursue freedom. I can also have two opponents without being so boring like now. 92092 Reviews by Whitebeard. Whitebeard sat on the boat, looking at the two bounty orders from Lu Chengkong and Khalifa, and muttered, as expected, people at the level of Whitebeard, Sengoku, and Garp have very unique and sharp eyes, just from Lu Chengkong. It can be seen from the photo that Lu Chengkong is a person who pursues freedom. Otherwise, Sengoku would have tried his best to train Lu Chengkong and Khalifa and would not have many scruples about Lu Chengkong. It was because he saw that what Lu Chengkong was pursuing was the opposite of he Marine and would become an enemy one day. That's why he was so scrupulous and even obstructed in every possible way. Dad, don't you think too highly of the two of them? Marco, the captain of the first team, said impatiently. It's not high at all, just look at Marine's actions. Although I haven't met the two of them, if the two of them can survive under the pursuit of Marine, their achievements are absolutely limitless. The most important thing is that the two of them are real pirates. People who pursue a free life are not restricted. Not to mention the fact that one of them has the fruit of light and the other is unknown, but it is obviously not bad. As long as that little girl develops the ability of the fruit of light to a strong enough Chengdu, she will have a strength comparable to or even surpass that of Admiral. Whitebeard shook his head and explained. Dad, is the fruit of light really that strong? Why don't I seem to have heard of it before? Marco was a little disbelieving, knowing that the ability of the three Admiral's fruit is beyond doubt. He actually said that only the ability of the fruit of light is used. How could it not be enough to surprise him that the development was comparable to or even surpassed the three Admiral? All I know is from what I've heard. Although there are no 3, 6 or 9 grades of devil fruits, if you insist on dividing them into improvement and help for combat effectiveness, you can still distinguish between high and low. As far as I am currently, the Logia I know is also divided into ordinary fruits and top fruits. Among them, the dark fruits and light fruits are the top Logia fruits, and they have been circulating for many years before I was born. You say this is groundless. Whitebeard hummed Isho. His voice was full of anticipation, and Marco on the side was also interested in Lu Chengkong and the others and wanted to meet them. Not to mention that Whitebeard and the other 4 emperors were thinking about their own affairs at this time, and returned to Lu Chengkong's side. At this time, Lu Chengkong had already arrived at the place where Lu Fei and others flew to Sky Island in the original book. Of course, because of Marine's wanted Ling appeared, and Lu Chengkong and others were not well known before, so many pirates and bounty hunters who fished in troubled waters came to find them, but these were all tests of the effect and power of Lu Chengkong's test color Haki. It's miserable, how can we go up without excellent navigators? Lu Chengkong said, looking at the sky a little depressed, standing near the place where Luffy and the others flew to Sky Island in the original book. Chengkong, why did you forget me? Boa Hancock stretched out his hand to smooth Lu Chengkong's frown from depression, and said in a soft and charming voice. Yes, now your Amazon Lily Island's sailing skills are ranked first, and even the windless belt can be easily passed, how can it not be here? Lu Chengkong said with a look of joy. Just now he was still. I almost wanted to go back and bring Nami over to see if she could fly up, but now Boa Hancock's words have resolved all of Lu Chengkong. troubles and depression. Then I'll go catch that strange bird first. Lu Chengkong kept rummaging through his memory and finally found what the bird looked like. Although some things have been forgotten over the years, the more important thing is that he is the time. Keep it in mind at all times, just like going to Sky Island. I want to see the rising explosive air once and see if it is necessary to modify the ship. After all, flying at an altitude of 10,000 meters is no joke. This is not only a challenge for the human body, but also a challenge for navigators and ships. Boa Hancock's face became solemn after Lu Chengkong left, and walked around the island with elegant steps, while also waiting for the arrival of the updraft. Sure enough, Boa Hancock proved with facts that Amazon Lily Island's shipbuilding technology and navigation technology can indeed rank first in the current era. Because Boa Hancock groped for it without the explanation of someone familiar with the updraft of the explosion. After seeing the updraft once, he immediately remodeled the pirate ship. It can be said that she did it all by herself. Boom. This day, that is, the second updraft of this month comes. At this time, the pirate ship has 2 more wings like the Straw Hat pirate ship, but it is slower than the 2 that drafted the pirate group. It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. Come on, Khalifa, if there is an accident at that time, you will immediately turn into a light and rush to find something similar to a rope, tree and vine and throw it down. With the ability of Moon Step, it should be able to last for a while. Lu Chengkong knows these things. It's not a joke, he doesn't think he has the sky-defying Straw Hat pirate's luck, of course, must be fully prepared for the worst in all aspects, otherwise it is easy to die. After all, it is a good thing to have an extra path. Yeah, this time Khalifa nodded and agreed without hesitation, because she knew that this was no joke. If something happened and she rushed up, it was very likely to end together, so she knew that she shouldered a great mission. Hey, you two don't look like life and death, okay? You have to trust the skills of the concubine in the sky. The concubine dares to give you a guarantee. If you fail, I will, Boa Hancock said here. I really don't know, it's good to say something. After all, she doesn't seem to be able to make any promises. She gives everything Lu Chengkong needs without reservation, so what else can she give that Lu Chengkong needs and doesn't have? Hancock, if you fail then give me your first time. Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed, and he immediately seized the opportunity, completely ignoring Boa Hancock's blushing face because of Lu Chengkong's incomparably straightforward words. Face. As long as you. In fact, it's not worth it. Concubine can give it to you. Boa Hancock bit her pink lips and said in a mosquito-sized voice. 93,093 went up. Humph. Although Khalifa knew that this would happen sooner or later, she was still very uncomfortable when she said it in front of her, but she didn't say anything but snorted coldly and wanted to go to the side. Space is reserved for Lu Chengkong and Boa Hancock. It looks like I'm in trouble today. Lu Chengkong saw Khalifa's little mouth pouting because of jealousy, and he knew that Khalifa would never make him feel better tonight, and would definitely make him want to die, although he didn't care. But Khalifa's little tricks are still very powerful. She stops every time she sucks the coolest moment. This kind of taste is very difficult, so every time she sees Khalifa showing this expression, Lu Chengkong will never let Khalifa's. Hee, let's go up first, but Hancock, you have to remember what you just said. Although Khalifa made room for himself and Boa Hancock, it is obviously not suitable for these tunes now, so wait until you go to Sky Island. Only opportunities such as high-altitude love are not common, and the place where you are the most beautiful woman in the sky is even more difficult to find in the world. Since he has this opportunity, Lu Chengkong will of course not let it go, otherwise he pushed Boa Hancock long ago when he came here and won't wait until now. Hearing this, Boa Hancock breathed a sigh of relief and felt a touch of disappointment in his heart, but after thinking of Lu Chengkong's words, she just put down her heart again. Come on. An hour later, Boa Hancock had basically recovered, but his face was calm, and it gave off an unfathomable feeling like the calm sea. Although she spoke, a huge vortex slowly appeared in front of Lu Chengkong and took shape. At the same time, a powerful suction came from the vortex, but Boa Hancock did not resist this suction but let it go. The suction force pulled the pirate ship over. Hold tight, Khalifa is ready. Lu Chengkong used the moon step to get up and looked at everything in front of him and immediately said to Khalifa. Understood. Khalifa nodded. The sourness on her pretty face disappeared, replaced by a serious, calm expression. Boom. Suddenly, a huge explosion sounded from the huge vortex, and a huge rotating water column suddenly stabbed below, directly pushing the pirate ship up, and the strong wind roared upwards at the same time. Boa Hancock immediately glanced at Lu Chengkong. Those eyes that seemed to be able to talk had already revealed her thoughts. Lu Chengkong was immediately divided into 3 parts, and the 2 mirror clones immediately pulled the huge sails away. The pirate ship was clinging to the water column, and at the same time, the wing-like things and sails on both sides followed the gale and flew into the wind. Success. Boa Hancock saw that everything was going as she imagined, and already knew that it was a success, and Lu Chengkong, who witnessed all this, admired Boa Hancock's sailing skills very much. She was simply an almighty woman, a woman with beauty, body, temperament, strength, housework, gentleness and consideration, and talents in all aspects can be said to be hard to find in the world. It is no wonder that Lu Chengkong and her rarely meet, but in Lu Chengkong's heart, Boa Hancock's status is only next to Khalifa. Have you seen it? Chengkong, the concubine has lived up to the word, and I will never lose to Khalifa. Boa Hancock clenched his pink fist, and thought to himself with a determined face while gritting his silver teeth. Poochie. The wind is getting stronger and stronger, and the speed of the current is getting faster and faster. Lu Chengkong knows that this is the last wave of sudden shock and current. If it can't rush to Sky Island before this current wave ends, then the defeat is over. Khalifa. Lu Chengkong roared. Khalifa immediately turned into a light and disappeared in the blink of an eye and rushed into the clouds. Obviously, he has reached Sky Island. On the contrary, Boa Hancock is extremely calm, and there is nothing on his delicate and beautiful face. Emotional passivity, as if all the changes up to now were under her control. Go up, Boa Hancock said softly, although the speed of the pirate ship's ascent suddenly was 2 or 3 times faster than before. The pirate ship, which was a little lacking in stamina, seemed to have eaten the expired and actually followed the last huge wave. The ocean current directly broke through the clouds and came to the sky above the clouds of Sky Island. At this time, Khalifa was holding some vines not far away. Apparently, she flew directly to Abayado, the island of gods in Enel at her own speed, but when she saw Lu Chengkong and others after she came up, there was obviously a relieved expression on her face. Okay, VV's face changed when Boa Hancock stood on the boat and was about to say something to Lu Chengkong and Khalifa, who was hugged by him in his arms. The moment she came up to Sky Island, she immediately released observation haki. Within her perception range, it was obvious that a person was rushing towards her and others on her skates. Rangkyaku, Tempest Kick. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa learned haki from Boa Hancock, and Boa Hancock also learned Marine Rokushiki from Lu Chengkong. The same Lu Chengkong also said the principle of returning life. Boa Hancock is powerful. The fruit ability and observation haki cultivation base believe that it will not take long to realize the return of life, which is the benefit of strong spiritual awareness. A blue and white vacuum slash that was more than 10 meters long appeared in front of Boa Hancock's perfume femur and flew towards the front. Lu Chengkong, who had only been practicing for about a year in observation haki, was obviously not as large as Boa Hancock's, so Boa Hancock issued Renkyaku. It took a while for Tempest Kick to sense that someone was coming. Although he had only seen this person once or twice in the original book, Lu Chengkong still remembered his name. That one seems to be the descendant of the great Shandia warrior Calgary. What is the name of the war ghost Wayapa? In the early stage, it was quite powerful to rely on those platooning shells to face those who would not be able to elementalize. Lu Chengkong, although it was a bit pretentious for someone who didn't appear at this time in the original book to suddenly come out, but he didn't stop Boa Hancock from taking action, because he also felt the killing intent from the war ghost Wayapa. What? How did those guys find me? and they were able to launch an attack from such a distance. War Ghost Wayapa's expression changed, and he picked up the incendiary cannon in his hand and flew towards him at an alarming speed. The vacuum slashes just, and at the same time, he managed to avoid the catastrophe by lying down by recoil, but although he survived, his face was still full of cold sweat in the face of the huge pressure surrounded by death just now. 94094 God Enel. Go away. Boa Hancock spit out a word in his mouth. The sound was not loud, but it could be clearly passed into his ears. Just now, Boa Hancock was just on a whim and also felt the killing intent of the other party. He wanted to try his own marine rokushiki practice. To what extent, although having a good foundation and a strong body and strong strength, it is fast to cultivate marine rokushiki, and in just 1 year, it is almost comparable to the achievements of Nengliu Chengkong and Khalifa who have cultivated for so many years. As a descendant of a great warrior, there is only one death that never retreats. Wayapa's face was very ugly, but he did not retreat at all. In the original book, this guy's body received more than n fatal injuries and could stand up tenaciously. Not to mention that his will is absolutely very strong. If his strength can be stronger, this person should not be underestimated. It is a pity that his strength is similar to that of the Straw Hat Luffy who just went to sea. Even more so with guns. Wasting time, Enel should have eaten Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, at this time, and destroyed his hometown. Then he should know when we come, although it is not 9 years after the original book, but Enel the genius of the fruit alone is not inferior to the strength of Admiral. Although it is not as strong as Admiral now, it is definitely a near-invincible existence below Admiral. Although the ability of Xingang is not as large as that of 9 years later, I find that I should still be able to of. Lu Chengkong motioned Boa Hancock to stop, and said to the two of them that Wayapa was just a clown. There was no need to care, but he was more interested in Enel. God of Sky Island, I think you should be able to hear what I said. What is your strength after eating Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit? Come out. I don't want to waste time looking for your place you. Lu Chengkong looked up and suddenly said loudly. Boa Hancock on the side was a little strange. There was obviously no one in his perception range. What was Lu Chengkong doing? At the center and top of Abayado sits a man eating an apple. His ears seem to be longer than those of Maitreya Buddha. At this time, his face is full of interest, as if something happened that made him very interested. Things of interest. The guy from Blue Sea, how did he know that I ate Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit? I'm really interested in you, but I want you to see this god. If you have this strength, please use the god to say, God's punishment, 1 million volts discharge, can survive, but those who dare to challenge the majesty of God will have to pay a price. Enel raised his wrist while eating an apple. The blue electric light burst out from his wrist and turned into a large bright thunderbolt rushing into the sky. At the same time, a blue light suddenly flashed above Lu Chengkong, and a loud roar of thunder suddenly sounded, followed by a thick lightning strike from the sky toward Lu Chengkong. Although it is very powerful, relying on this level of lightning alone is useless to me. Lu Chengkong shook his head, but she did not use armament hockey to resist, because there was someone beside her who shot earlier than her. Not Boa Hancock, is actually Khalifa. The light of judgment, Khalifa said coquettishly, and a thick golden light burst out from the jade hand to meet the blue dot in the sky. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded at the moment when the two lights of different colors collided, and the sound could definitely spread for several miles. When the dazzling three-color light dissipated, only Khalifa was left in the sky. The golden light, the blue electric light and shadow dissipated into the invisible. The thunder fruit is one of the few fruits with invincible abilities in the eyes of outsiders. Compared with the fruit of light, there is still a little gap between the fruit of light. At least the fruit of light conceal the ability of those who have the ability. Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, is not allowed, but there are many similarities between bright fruit and Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit. Lu Chengkong knew that this time it was Khalifa's battle, because he had already seen Khalifa's eyes. There was a raging fire inside. Chengkong, let Khalifa do the trick this time. When she knew she didn't have a conqueror, she could see that her mood was a little low. I think she heard you say that the Enel fruit has a strong ability, and it's a Logia fruit. That's why Khalifa doesn't want to distance himself from you, so he wants to fight him. Boa Hancock worried that Lu Chengkong didn't know Khalifa's intentions, so he immediately helped. Hee, I have lived with Khalifa for so long, how can I not know her thoughts? When I awakened the demon Haki, her performance became more and more obvious. She wanted to make up for me in the fruit ability. The gap with her is really stupid. Everyone has her own strengths and strengths. There is no need to belittle yourself because there is no overlord bag, and the power of the fruit of light is not as simple as imagined, but this battle is of great help to Khalifa. It is a fruit-capable person, and it is also Logia. One is light, and the other is thunder. Lu Chengkong shook his head a little funny and said, I know. Khalifa's eyes turned red with Vivi. She thought that Lu Chengkong would not care for her as much as before after having Boa Hancock. She thought that Lu Chengkong didn't know what she was thinking, but now it seems that she is the one. She was wrong. Lu Chengkong had always known what she was thinking, but she just didn't say it. For a while, Khalifa's feeling a little sad and unhappy because of Hancock's incident also recovered, and her heart was like eating honey. Sweet as sugar. Enel of the Holy Land, the island of God, Abiado, looked a little serious after seeing that his ability was actually defeated head-on. He was able to develop Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, to the Admiral level, although now it hasn't fully arrived yet, but it's not far behind. Of course, he has a clear understanding of the Logia fruit. When Khalifa used the light of judgment, he already understood that the other party should have the same ability as him, although he is arrogant. But it does not mean that he is an idiot, stupid and arrogant, so he has already admitted the strength of the other party in his heart. The duel between the light and the thunder and lightning. The god likes this sentence. Haha, it was originally. Enel laughed wildly. How could he refuse a challenge, especially a challenge with the same ability as himself? He immediately turned into a thunderbolt and moved at the speed of thunder, and soon descended on the clouds not far from Lu Chengkong. Are you here? I'm sorry, Enel, I originally wanted to fight you, but my woman also seems to want to fight, so I can only step aside, and I will fight again when your injury recovers after your defeat. It's on the field. Lu Chengkong said in a helpless tone with a casual expression, as if he was talking about what was about to happen. 95-095 Bright vs. Thunder. Oh, you mean I'm doomed? Enel asked with interest instead of being angry at Lu Chengkong's prophecy-like arrogance. Hee, it's true that you will lose. You won't believe it now, but you will soon believe it. Lu Chengkong Haisho. From the outsider's point of view, the battle between Logia and Logia lasted a long time, but in fact that's not the case. In that case, it will take so long to decide the winner when both sides are Logia fruits and have no attributes to counteract each other, and the strength is almost the same, but once there is a gap in strength, it will be like a Kainu. Like Ace, it is also fire, but the difference in strength is a one-shot kill. And now Khalifa's fruit ability is not as developed as Enel, who has been focusing on fruit ability for many years, but Lu Chengkong is confident that Khalifa will win. Then let's wait and see. If you lose, you will die. Enel laughed, facing someone who was also Logia, but he was very excited. After all, he really wanted to prove that no matter what he was facing, humans are godlike beings, even if the other party also uses Logia's ability, but now he has a good opportunity to prove it to him. How can he be unhappy or excited? Weipa, go back and tell everyone in Shandia that Enel will be leaving Sky Island soon. Don't talk nonsense. The battle here is not something you who rely on external forces can participate in, and it is best for you to take advantage of it. But I advise you not to fight the Sky Island people here after you can return to Sky Island, otherwise I don't mind killing all of you Shandia people. Lu Chengkong was seeing Khalifa turn into light, and Enel turned into after the lightning disappeared in front of his eyes. He said to Weipa, who had come not far from him. Why? Weipa said with a look of disdain. Obviously he didn't take Lu Chengkong in his eyes at all. Just because I am stronger than you, because you are just an ant-like existence in front of me. Lu Chengkong's voice suddenly sounded behind him, and at the same time he held his neck with one hand and lifted him up. Weipa glared angrily, but no matter how much he resisted and struggled, the physique he had always been proud of couldn't break free from Lu Chenkong's right hand, and the gap in strength forced him to recognize the reality. I don't think you can talk. The person who makes the decision, go back and bring the person in your union village who can make decisions on behalf of everyone. After Lu Chenkong finished speaking, he threw Weipa out. If not, it takes them who have survived here for a long time and know everything about Sky Island very well as their tour guides, so he can't bother to care about each other's affairs. The best way to ask strangers to help them use carrots and sticks is the best. You bastard, don't underestimate me, platooning shellfish. Weipa's face was ferocious, really like a ghost. The sliding shoes with wind shells under his feet spurted a hurricane backwards, and the speed of going suddenly shot towards Lu Chenkong. Rush over. It's true that you won't die until the Yellow River. Are you determined to be strong-willed, or are you too stupid and won't turn? Haven't the gap in strength been discovered yet? Life is returned, iron and steel body. Lu Chenkong immediately predicted based on observation hockey when it came to the attack that Yi was afraid of. There seemed to be a small voice in his mind telling him the other party's timidity. The way he did it was normal, but he didn't bother to dodge it. He was not Enel, he only knew how to use the fruit ability but ignored the importance of the body. It can be said that his physical skills have never stopped exercising until now. Slap. Weipa's bandaged right hand pressed against Lu Chenkong's body at once, and a strange sound that shook the air rippled out of it, and waves of powerful shocks pierced from Weipa's body. The right hand charged towards Lu Chenkong's body, and billowing smoke and dust emanated from the place of the two of them and surrounded their bodies. Relying on external force. Human beings can stand at the top of all things because they are good at using weapons and making weapons. Only those who can survive are the real winners. Weipa said coldly, as if mocking Lu Chenkong's ignorance. Really, proper use of external force is a good thing, but for a strong person to rely too much on external force is a stupid thing. Just like you are now, Shigen, finger pistol. Lu Chenkong's voice suddenly came out. Suddenly, the face of Weipa, who thought he was dead, changed suddenly, and at the same time, his chest hurt. Lu Chenkong's fingers had pierced several holes in his chest, and the blood continued to flow out. Go back, I don't have any hatred with you. You can say that I am your benefactor, for the so-called face. You have to take back the lost land by yourself. Don't laugh at me, Guro no mi, rumble fruit, you can't imagine how powerful you are. If Enel can't let you wrong touch his body with the speed of thunder, sea stone. Can you touch him? Lu Chenkong kicked Weipa out with one kick, and didn't go back. Leave him alone, but look up at the already fighting above. The golden light keeps flashing, and the thick thunder and lightning keep pouring down. Isn't it a gift for you to be able to stay at Sky Island for free without any effort or sacrifice? It is necessary to fight with my benefactor. Lu Chenkong's voice gradually returned to dullness, as if he had just dealt with a piece of very common thing. We Shandia people have our own dignity. As the descendants of warriors, we have to take back what we lost. What are you doing? The Blue Sea people, whoever gets in my way, I will mind killing you. Paco showed his strong vitality and will to the fullest. He used a platoon shell and was punched 3 holes by Lu Chenkong's Shigen, finger pistol, but he was still able to stand up. Do you have to get back what you lost? I like this sentence, but do you have the strength to get it back? Forget it, it's a waste to talk to you, a brainless person. After you clean up Enel, you will be with your village. Let's talk a little longer. Anyway, there are still many people who love peace. If I didn't need you as my guide, I would be too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Quote. Lu Chenkong also felt a little strange. It seemed that he appeared here and this guy had no reason to kill him, but when he thought of this time, the people from Angel Island and the people from Shandia were still fighting, and the other people from Shandia were still fighting. One is a guerrilla, and it is strange to find out that people who are not Shandia do not kill. And for people who are constantly killing on the battlefield, it is just a normal thing to kill them when they encounter them. Looking at Weipa's appearance, it is obviously because some of the brothers in Shandia died in battle, so I went out to see if I could meet the people from Angel Island and kill a few to vent. In the end, The people from Angel Island didn't meet them, but they did meet those who found Lu Chengkong and others, so he wanted to use these people to vent his grievances and anger, but he didn't expect to kick the iron plate. 96096200 million volts Thor. Take care of Enel, haha, Blue Sea Man, I admit that you are stronger than me, but if you want to clean up Enel who turned into a thunderbolt without the help of Seastone, it is impossible for him to melt into his body. Weipa heard Lu Chengkong's words but he laughed disdainfully. This can only show your ignorance. He has Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, but my wife has a brighter fruit than him. Khalifa, who has the speed of light and surpasses the speed of thunder, has long been standing in the dark. Lost. Lu Chengkong didn't care about Weipa's ridicule, and he was still looking at the collision of light and lightning from above. Bright fruit. Weipa's face changed. In the anime, he already knew that Enel was eating Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, of devil fruit. Knowing the legend of top-level abilities such as the Fruit of Light, the disdainful voice also stopped abruptly, and at the same time, in order to verify with his own eyes whether what Lu Chengkong said was the truth, he also stopped and looked at the battle above. Little girl, your strength is really good, but your development level is not strong enough. 20 million volts, discharge. Enel watched Khalifa not far away, dodging his own attacks every time he was faster than himself, so this time the scope of application is wider, and he does not believe that Khalifa can move at the speed of light for a long time. Have you seen it through? Although I have been developing bright fruits over the years, the development difficulty and consumption of top fruits are still too great for me to use for a long time, but I have not been in vain over the years. Lasers. Khalifa said in his heart. He thought to himself, while a mocking smile hung on the corner of his mouth, and his jade hand pointed to Enel in front of him. A small light ball composed entirely of holy light was formed from the tip of Khalifa's jade finger, and the moment the small light ball was formed, it was fired towards Enel like a laser. Boom! The collision between the lightning and the beam is constantly appearing in the sky above. The damage range of the lightning is bigger than that of Khalifa, but Khalifa's attacks are all point-breaking. The penetrating power of a light is very terrible, and it can penetrate every time. Enel is dense and thick lightning. Concentrate the attack to the smallest point and burst out. The penetrating power is the most terrifying, to break the face. Lu Chengkong said softly, Khalifa has basically won, and her speed is better than Enel. The speed of the laser is the power of the laser attack, and these rays contain terrifying high temperatures, as if they are as hot as the sun shining on the earth. How could this be? All my thunderbolts have been penetrated. It's impossible, I don't believe it. 60 million volts Thunder Dragon. Enel roared in disbelief, at the same time beating the big drum behind him, a length of tens of meters. The long Thunder Dragon suddenly formed in the sky and bit Khalifa away. I see how you dodge. 200 million volts Thor. Enel knew that he would lose if he went on like this. Khalifa couldn't use the speed of light to move for a long time, and he couldn't turn into lightning every second, even if his mental power was very strong. Powerful, but he can't keep the elemental handle for hours. The so-called long-term use of elementalization is to change into elementalization when needed, and then recover in the moment of dodging the attack, but to face Khalifa's light-like attack, it is fundamental to maintain elementalization into lightning for a long time. There is no way. His observation haki is very powerful, and even Boa Hancock's coverage is not comparable to that of Boa Hancock, but don't forget that sometimes you can predict the opponent's attack movement and your nerve speed can't react, so it's not useless to rely on haki alone. It's useless, you have to get stronger in body and strength at the same time, so that you can exert the greatest power of haki. HMPH, do you transform into nothingness with lightning? Such a huge body has the speed of lightning and maintains the power of 200 million volts with every attack. Khalifa looked at Enel in shock as he was not using the arc. The most powerful trick, facing Enel who is like a real god at this time, anyone will be shocked. That's it, Enel. Lu Chengkong's neighborhood was full of people at some point, but these were just people from Angel Island, but people from Shandia in Union Village. It seems that Lu Chengkong's conjecture that's right, the place where he rushed to Sky Island is different from Luffy. Luffy is Angel Island and all the people from Angel Island are facing, while Lu Chengkong came from Union Village, so of course all the people nearby are from Shandia. The nearby Shandia people saw the battle between the light beams in the sky and the thunder and lightning. In addition, Enel kept using various shapes of thunder and lightning, and now they have created a thunder god. It would be strange if they could not be attracted. That's the power of Enel, the god we've always had to beat. Is this power really something we can beat? One and Boa Hancock, with long black hair, had the same appearance as Nami and others, tall and dressed in pink. The woman in purple-blue short-sleeved trousers looked at Enel, who had grown bigger in the sky, and muttered. That is, using the power of light to give people a warm and comfortable feeling like a spring breeze shining on the earth, but when angry, it can destroy and purify everything. This is the fruit of light. It suddenly opened wider than a copper bell, and said in a surprised voice. Although the Shandia people with a history of more than 400 years know everything about devil fruits very well, you must know that there are many people in Blue Sea who don't know the top fruit abilities of the bright fruit. Lu Chengkong said as soon as he opened his ears, he could hear the chief's words clearly, and thought to himself. Ha ha, I admit that your strength is very strong, and you can overwhelm me in terms of fruit ability. If you develop to the same level as me, then I am really not your opponent, but now you are defeated, man of Blue Sea, now your woman is about to lose, so what you said just now that I will lose turned into empty words and slaps yourself. Enel watched as he faced countless lightning strikes in his state of Thor. Khalifa, who could only be tired of coping with dodging, immediately thought that he was sure to win, so he looked at Lu Chengkong, who was still calm below, and said in a smug tone. That's right, he was really happy. Although the battle lasted for a short time, he used his own strength to prove that he was a god, and he could still defeat even if he faced abilities stronger than himself. As Enel's words came out, only Shandia noticed the existence of Lu Chengkong, so they looked at Lu Chengkong and Boa Hancock with curiosity and doubt, but many of them moved evilly when they saw Boa Hancock. That obscene gaze made Boa Hancock very disgusted. The next moment, Boa Hancock used her actual actions to confirm that her nickname was Pirate Queen. How did the female tyrant come from? 97,097 lost to Enel. Hate, the body of the concubine can only be seen by the sky. I hate people looking at me like this, marrow mellow. Boa Hancock's pretty face was as cold as ice, and a heart-shaped light flew out from her jade hand, wherever she passed. All those who have evil thoughts on Boa Hancock and are fascinated by her beauty are all turned into stone sculptures. What kind of ability is that? Lan Chi, who saw that all the men in Shandia had turned into stone sculptures, except for Wayapa and the chief who were not petrified, immediately screamed in horror. It's the ability of the Paramesha fruit. It should be that all people who are fascinated by her beauty will be petrified. Wayapa didn't look at her just now, and has been paying attention to the battle above, and I felt a strong threat from her, so I didn't go to see her, so I'm fine, as for other people's trouble. The chief said with lingering fears. Bastard, she must be relieved. Lan Chi suddenly looked angry. Enel at most prevented them from going back to Angel Island, but now Boa Hancock is equivalent to exterminating their family, can she not be angry? It's a pity that she couldn't rush over to find Boa Hancock after being held by the chief. Don't do it, they are not dead, as long as the woman is willing to lift it, it will be fine, don't be impulsive, that woman gives me a far more terrible feeling than Enel. How can a chief not have any ability? At this time his eyes were full of fear when they looked at Boa Hancock. What? You're saying that woman's strength is stronger than Enel? God, chief, you're not kidding me. Lan Chi said with a look of horror. She couldn't believe the chief's words in her heart. When she said these words, she had already passed by with a shock. Otherwise, why do you think Enel came? Why did you say these words to that man? The chief said helplessly. As a chief, he was not angry when he saw his own family being petrified. That's a lie, it's just that he is much more sensible than lanky. The difference in strength between the two sides is so big. How to recover the petrified person is the most important thing, so he can only beg Boa Hancock. After all, the other party has eliminated all the male warriors of the Shandia people in one fell swoop. Is that useful? Didn't you see that the most impulsive and stubborn Wayapa also clenched his fists and didn't rush up? It's not for the other petrified Shandia people. At this time, not only will they die, but the Shandia people will also be finished. Very well, it will save time for them to tell me where the Emperor of the Sea is. Although they may not know the exact location, at least they know more than me, so maybe they can have some clues. Lu Chengkong didn't stop Boa Hancock's words. After all, he knew very well how attractive Hancock was. It could be said that the people who could not be fooled by her charm were very determined and powerful people. Of course, Luffy, who ate an arrow from a rubber fruit, was an exception. HMPH, do you think you are the only one with this ability? The sun shines brightly. Khalifa snorted coldly, looking at Enel, who was a little complacent, and suddenly became unhappy. He wanted to play with the other party, so let's deal with him. I saw Khalifa suddenly burst into a strong light, and the holy light on Khalifa no longer gave a sense of tolerance and holiness as before, but was full of a kind of destruction and a strong smell of death. Sure enough, the light of anger is the most terrifying. The light can illuminate the earth, and it can also destroy the earth. The chief suddenly changed his face and said in horror. Destroy it, Thor. Khalifa emphasized the word Thor. At this time, Khalifa seemed to have become a small sun. The dazzling holy light made people unable to open their eyes to see. Khalifa, who turned into a miniature sun, burst out countless rays of laser light full of destruction and destruction. The coverage is so large that Enel, who has become a giant Thor at this time, can't escape. After all, the speed of light is no joke. Although the brain's thinking speed is faster than that of light, the neural response can't keep up. Not useless. Not only that, but the emitted laser light is all attached to it with armament hockey, so even if Enel's Thor stayed on the opposite side as nothing, it can penetrate his body completely and hit his body directly. Ah, no, impossible. I'm a god. I'm invincible. Enel screamed miserably. He didn't expect that he, who had the absolute upper hand just a moment ago, would be ruthlessly defeated the next moment. This kind of feeling of climbing higher and falling more miserably is not so pleasant, let alone not knowing that there are gods and gods, even Enel, who has always thought that he is invincible. For those of you who are not so good, the taste of failure is not so pleasant, let alone in the case of being defeated head-on if the attributes are not mutually restrained. I didn't expect to use such a large-scale destructive move for the first time. I finally defeated him with armament hockey's surprise, but this time the harvest is really quite big. Khalifa recovered the moment Enel fell. The holy light on her body had disappeared, and after muttering a word, the blackness in front of her whole body also fell down. Obviously just now she was also relying on the will. Took a breath to avoid fainting, but now that she defeated Enel, her nerves suddenly loosened, and she passed out because of the exhaustion. Moon step. When Lu Chengkong saw Khalifa's shaky appearance, he immediately knew that she had consumed too much and had overdrawn her fruit ability. The move that seemed to turn into a sun just now obviously overdrawn Khalifa's physical and mental abilities. So he used Moon Step to fly up early in the morning. Facts proved how accurate his vision was, and immediately when Xiang Nephrite Jade hugged him as a reward. He's really a stubborn guy, but this overdraft is not without benefits. After letting go of her heart, the overdraft consumption was too large. After recovering, it might be broken and standing up. It seems that Khalifa is strong after recovery. It will improve. Lu Chengkong hugged Khalifa's delicate body and stepped on the air when he was about to land. The strong air force made Lu Chengkong stop when he was only about 1 meter away from the sea of clouds. And then landed safely. She really defeated Enel. Wayapa, the chief, Lan Chi looked at Enel, who had fallen above the sea of clouds not far away, and kept talking like a fool. 98,098 Sea King. It's not surprising, no matter how strong the devil fruit's abilities are, as long as they have the ability to deal with them, even the light fruit can defeat them. Lu Chengkong looked at the people who were stunned by their extreme surprise. Of course, all the men were stunned. It was petrified, and the rest are women. I will take Enel, but you must answer me a question, and at the same time live in peace with the people of this island. Then you can return to this land, and I will not interfere, and I will let Hancock solve these people. The petrification, you can choose for yourself. Lu Chengkong knew that the chiefs of the Shandia people would definitely agree. After all these things were not harmful to him at all. Only harmful, because he was also a peacemaker. If it wasn't for the sake of getting back the lost land, he would not agree with Wayapa to challenge the gods and fight the people of Angel Island. Please tell me, as long as I know, I will tell you everything. Although the chief's answer was the same as Lu Chengkong thought. Tell me, where is the Emperor of the Sea? Lu Chengkong said here. A terrifying aura that was invisible to the naked eye suddenly burst out. Unlike Conqueror, Lu Chengkong was a devilish haki, and the chief only felt like it was a little lamb who had lost all resistance and was waiting to be slaughtered, and Lu Chengkong in front of him seemed to have transformed into a terrifying demon so huge that it seemed to cover the sky, and the unparalleled terrifying pressure fell on his body and mind like falling from the sky. Facing this extremely terrifying momentum, the chief only felt as if he had lost control of his body, and at the same time he had also lost control of his brain, and the words he said were all without the thought of his brain at all. I don't know either, but our ancestors were only responsible for guarding the historical stele that recorded the ancient weapon, see Emperor. I don't know anything else at all. As soon as the chief's words came out, that terrible pressure seemed to have never happened. It usually disappeared without a trace when it appeared. At the same time, he also discovered what he had just experienced. Very good. No one can lie to me, this ability is really good. Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed. The chief's answer was the same as what he knew, and it also proved the difference between his demonic haki and conqueror haki. However, under the pressure of his own haki, if the opponent can't resist, he will lose control of his body and brain. Every sentence Lu Chengkong utters is like an imperial decree. He will do it unconditionally. His brain will not know to think, just like the chief just now. It's terrifying. This man is even more terrifying than Enel. The chief looked at Lu Chengkong with a heart-pounding look on his face. His face was full of fear and lingering fears, as if he had experienced something terrible just now. In this case, Neptune should not be on Sky Island. Ancient weapons should be relatively large. If there is no reason for the collector of this weapon on Sky Island, it will not be discovered for so many years, and Enel's heart can spread throughout the entire Sky Island. If it was here, it should have been discovered long ago. It seems that it is really not here. Lu Chengkong analyzed in his heart. Okay, Hancock solved the petrification of them. Your charm is indeed terrible, let alone their people. Even if it is my words, I can't help but feel evil in your heart, and let them all be low when they meet you in the future. The head is. Lu Chengkong knew that there was no way to stop this. After all, Hancock was just a natural charm that even Vice Admiral could not resist. If the power used petrification, even Admiral would have to hide his edge unless Lu Chengkong killed them all. Otherwise, the men in the entire pirate world have no choice but to kill the chickens to warn the monkeys. No matter where Hancock appears in the future, all the men there will bow their heads and can't look at Hancock. Then this is the best way. But these are all based on absolute strength, and now Lu Chengkong is facing these people already have this strength, so the chief can only nod unwillingly and agree. Okay, the god of the previous generation, I think the affairs here will be handed over to you. I will not interfere, I will live here for a while, you can just treat us as non-existent, and hand over the maintenance of peace or something. Here you are, as long as this Enel doesn't die for a day, he won't mess around. Lu Chengkong looked at the largest cloud in the sky nearby, said softly, and then handed Khalifa into Juliana's hands. Picking up the comatose Enel on the ground, he jumped back to Hancock's pirate ship. Of course, he had to ask the chief to take a few squid and press them on the ship. Ganfer, do you think that man's words can be trusted? The chief was a little undecided when he saw that Ganfer, who was riding a Pegasus bird, landed for a while, so he asked the god of the previous generation in front of him. Even if you can't believe it, you have to believe it. You should have seen it. Each of the four of them has the ability to defeat or equal to Enel. That woman whose charm is unimaginable is even more terrifying. I think if she is the one who shoots Enel, it's definitely not going to last 10 rounds, and I don't think they have any nostalgia for Sky Island, which is to ask themselves what they want to know, and I feel separation from them. So I think they will leave soon, as long as we don't offend their group, then I think they're a lot better than Enel. Gonfeur is worthy of being the god of the previous generation. Although he is not strong, he is very good at understanding people's hearts. After all, who in the high position will not understand people's hearts? Well, Weipa, forget it. This world is such a reality. The weak are the food, the strong are respected, their strength is too strong, no matter how arrogant their attitude is. These are all natural. In order to get back the lost, it is necessary to challenge the gods and fight against the people of Sky Island. Now there is no need for this. He is right. It is the best ending to be able to take back everything that belongs to him without any effort. Quote. The chief looked at Weipa on the side, but he knew that Weipa was arrogant and arrogant. Facing the extremely powerful Lu Chengkong, he was worried that Weipa would do something stupid and immediately persuaded him. Chief, I know what to do. I will not do anything harmful to the people of Shandia, but as a descendant of the War One have my own glory. I can die in battle, I can be defeated, but I must not be humiliated. His strength is very strong, I admit, but from now on, I will use him as my goal to cultivate and become stronger. When I become stronger, I will go to him. At that time, I was a loser in the past, but later came to him as a solo challenger. Weipa is not an irrational person. Of course, he knows that such a result is the worst for all Shandia people, but his self-esteem and his glory will not allow him to back down, no matter how strong the opponent is. 99,099 Woman's Possessiveness. Weipa, hey. The chief looked at Weipa and finally could only turn into a complicated sigh. After all, every warrior has his self-esteem and his glory. For this man who has always been Shandi for the strongest warrior of the demihumans, Lu Chengkong relied on external forces and told him to go back. In front of him, Weipa is an ant. These words have deeply melted his heart, but the same Weipa this time the gains are also huge. I will give up platooning shells and burning guns. I will use my own hands to strengthen my body, and I will definitely not lose to you. Weipa thought fiercely in his heart. It seemed that Lu Chengkong was sturdy before. The performance also made him deeply realize that it is the king who taps his own potential to become stronger. Relying on the platoon shells and incendiary guns like him is only a seemingly powerful weak. Can that man really be defeated by Weipa? A small circle is tied at the back of his head, and then there is a waterfall-like vertical black-haired Lanchi looking at Weipa and thinking to himself, although Lu Chengkong she had never shot in front of her, but when Khalifa fell from the sky just now, she could see clearly that Lu Chengkong actually flew up, and she also had some eyesight. She clearly saw that Lu Chengkong was relying on his strength. With the strength of his feet stepping on the air and flying into the air, is the person who can fly with the flesh really that Weipa can defeat? Not to mention that Chief Shandia, who had already discussed with Ganfer how to divide the land, said that Lu Chengkong, who had just left, had already come to the Abiado of Enel at this time. When he woke up, he ran away immediately. People who can defeat even gods are not the ones who can defeat them, so they are very clever and hide to the side to see what will happen and see what the situation is saying. Although Enel's fruit ability is developed to a higher degree than Khalifa, his resilience is much worse than that of Khalifa, who has the ability to light fruit. Khalifa, who had fallen asleep at night, has woken up, although his face is still a little pale. However, it made Khalifa look more pitiful than her daughter's family, and Lu Chengkong was even more moved by it. HMPH, people are injured and don't even know how to care about me, but they still think about these things. Go away and find your Hancock. Khalifa said with a coquettish expression, although she was saying that Lu Chengkong should leave, but the expression on her face clearly told Lu Chengkong that if you dared to leave, you would be dead, and Lu Chengkong would have taken it for granted that women were duplicitous. How could it be? Now that you are injured, Hancock is very worried about you. Those things can be done anytime, but of course you need to take care of yourself if you are injured. Lu Chengkong said immediately with concern, In fact he knew very well where did Khalifa suffer from any damage, at least the body was not injured. Generally, Logia fruit ability users will rarely be injured unless they fight with hockey masters. Most of them eat too much fruit ability, resulting in physical and mental overdraft. Now Khalifa is obviously overdrawn. In general, those with the fruit ability basically recover a lot after taking a few days of rest, but Khalifa has the ability of the Fruit of Light, and the recovery power is far superior to those of other abilities, so all the other abilities will recover in at least a week. But Khalifa will recover completely in 3 days at most. Khalifa pretends to be so pitiful, but it's not because he wants Lu Chengkong to spend more time with him. How can these careful thoughts be hidden from Lu Chengkong? HMPH, you can talk. Khalifa immediately had a sweet smile on the corner of his mouth. Of course, Lu Chengkong accompanied Khalifa that night, but because Khalifa just woke up, his whole body was weak and lacking energy, so Lu Chengkong didn't what a mess, just fell asleep with Khalifa who had a sweet smile on his face all night. As for Boa Hancock, in order to know more about Lu Chengkong, of course, he found Juliana to sleep with him, and even his own noble and inviolable body, which no one can touch except Lu Chengkong, did not care, and directly and Juliana sleeps with her clothes. Of course, it is also huge for her to have such a huge sacrifice. Juliana, who has lived with Lu Chengkong for a while, has already figured out most of Lu Chengkong's affairs and temperament, so she asked Juliana about Boa Hancock's questioning. He also knew everything and told Boa Hancock everything like pouring water. HMPH, Khalifa, although you are a concubine's good sister, but now I am also the person who Chengkong likes, I will not lose to you. Boa Hancock's eyes burst into a light of unyielding, biting his sleeve and thinking to himself road. Of course, these little fights between them were not the court fights in the ancient emperor's harem. These were just goodwill fights, otherwise Khalifa wouldn't have done everything possible to bring Boa Hancock and Lu Chengkong together. All of these are possessiveness humiliating from women's hearts. Men have their own unique domineering possessiveness, but how strong is the possessiveness of that man? Women also have it, but their possessiveness is different from that of men. Men have a strong possessive desire for women who have had a relationship with them, and the stronger and more capable men are, the more serious they are, while women will only have a unique relationship with a man they like. He is possessive, longing to be with him all the time. One is for all, the other is for only one. There is still a big difference between the two. Enel, who was thrown into his temple, has woken up, but seeing Enel is not just overdraft. He is not only overdraft, but also physically traumatized. It will take a month to fully recover. It is possible, but the physical trauma is not the most painful for him. The most painful is the psychological. I actually lost. No, I can't lose. I am a god. God is invincible. How can a god lose? That must be an illusion. Yes, I should have had a very real dream. Enel roared fiercely, but because of the physical injury and mental overdraft, the sound of the roar is a personal feeling of returning to the light. I said, have you roared enough? If you are a god like this, then aren't there gods everywhere in the blue sea? There are many people who surpass our strength, at least I know a lot, and your current the strength has started to far surpass all Vice Admiral. I believe that it will take a long time for you to be no worse than Admiral. Your vision is too narrow, and you have never seen a real master. The chance of failure. Let go of your body and mind and take a good look at how big the world is, but it is not comparable to the infinite. Quote. 100 Use of light and thunder. What? There are so many strong men in Blue Sea, it's impossible. Enel was hit even harder this time. He couldn't accept only Lu Chengkong and the others. Now he actually heard more than Lu Chengkong and others. There are more and more people who are stronger. So isn't he, the self-proclaimed strongest god, the funniest existence? Nothing is impossible. I have said that your vision is too narrow, and all you see are just superficial things. If it weren't for the resources of Sky Island, the Sky Island that is not precious to the people of Blue Sea would have been occupied long ago. Do you think you can still be a god for that long? Lu Chengkong not only did not comfort Enel, on the contrary, there was a smell of falling into trouble. Didn't you say that you are a god? How can you look like a god with this decadent look? You can be a god if you want to. Become stronger, and make your strength to the strongest. You are not invincible in Sky Island from the beginning, even if did you eat Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, and it took many years of training to achieve what you are now. This is what God looks like. If you fail, you can't get up. I think you're not as good as a human being. Quote. Hee, motivation is really better than anything else. It looks like the Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble fruit, person in the sky knows the character of the ability person very well. Khalifa and Boa Hancock, who were standing on the side, thought to themselves. Damn, who said that I can't stand up if I fail once? I'm a god, even if you can beat me now, but I can beat you in the future. Those who offend God must die. Enel immediately forced his body to stand when he got up, although it still looked shaky and seemed to fall down at any time. The determination in his eyes told everyone present that she was so serious and firm. But how can you become stronger with such poor physical skills? The power of the devil fruit is only a kind of assistance. There are too many. If you want to become a strong person, you must have superhuman physique and will, and now you don't have either. Come back to me arrogant when you have it. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, he took Boa Hancock and Khalifa and turned and left. As for Juliana, of course, she found a waterfall and started to practice her kendo. This is 10,000 miles in the sky. Although the air is not as thin as I imagined, it is used to the geographical and ecological environment of the blue sea. It suddenly rises to 10,000 miles in the sky. If ordinary people are dead, they can no longer die, but for those who pursue the path of the strong it is said that it is a good natural exercise environment. At least Lu Chengkong has already figured out how to exercise for himself. Superman's physique, Superman's will. HMPH, I don't have it now, but for the Almighty God, it will soon be possible. Enel is not an idiot. Of course he knows that Lu Chengkong's sarcasm and ridicule are actually a kind of inspiration, but because of his face, he would not thank Lu Chengkong in person, and he also knew that Lu Chengkong had given him hints secretly, and he also grasped these hints and was already thinking about how to change himself. Zongkong, since there is no Sea Emperor here, why are you still staying here? Boa Hancock asked in confusion. It's very simple, our strength is still not strong enough. In the first half of the Great Waterway, we may be very strong together, but in fact, we have the strength to compete with Admiral Hancock is the only one of us here. Lu Chengkong looked at Hancock and said. Getting up is not as good as you said. Boa Hancock was stared at by Lu Chengkong like this, completely taking Lu Chengkong's words as a compliment to himself, and immediately blushed and said shyly. Now the new world is about to stabilize, and the Marine headquarters will be able to divide enough combat power to destroy us, so we must not be satisfied with the status quo. This is 10,000 meters high in the sky. I thought of two very good how to exercise. Lu Chengkong's head was dripping with cold sweat, and sure enough, Hancock was still a little narcissistic. What method? Khalifa hurriedly asked. Obviously she saw Boa Hancock's appearance and Lu Chengkong was admiring her, but Khalifa thought that her strength really couldn't compete with Admiral, so she heard Lu Chengkong say that there is a good the training method was immediately asked. First, with the help of the environment here, since it is 10,000 meters high, what if we jump down? The moon step is the most stamina intensive. Be strong, let's land directly under the clouds, fall down and fly up with moon step. If we don't come up and end the game, you all know that we will become stronger between life and death. Lu Chengkong said with a finger out. Second, of course, I use Khalifa's light energy and Enel's thunder and lightning to practice. Lu Chengkong couldn't help but think of an anime called Naruto that he had watched, although he watched it not much, just saw where the Chunin exam was, but he still remembered very clearly that Uchiha Sasuke, who was very rookie at the beginning, was able to greatly improve his strength in a very short period of time, all because of your Kakashi's thunder. The attribute chakra stimulates cells and activates cells in the legs. This method before he became CP9, but at that time he had no lightning, and even if there was, he couldn't control it, so even with Khalifa, who had a very strong resilience, he would not dare to mess around, so he thought of it Enel, it's just that his strength is not strong enough. If you want Enel to help him, you must have a strength stronger than him, so this idea can't be implemented until now. I understand, use Enel's electricity to shock the body's cells, habits, blood, etc., but the intensity is from small to large. Every time it is a little bit beyond the body's tolerance. If the body is damaged, use Khalifa's light. The ability of the fruit to be restored. Exercise is to continuously strengthen every organ of the body, such as cells. The damaged cells contain more energy after growing new cells, but the number of cells that a person can divide is limited, so it can be said that the exercise method of destroying the body is not tenable, but now that there is controllable lightning and light fruit with strong resilience, everything is solved. Boa Hancock really deserves to be the queen, and his wisdom is really extraordinary, and he immediately understood. Yes, with my physique that has surpassed the physiological limits of the human body so many times now, I can fully withstand the damage and pain caused by the current flowing through the body, so I am not sure about other things, but as long as I complete these 2 exercises, I will. Even if they lose to Admiral, it's not so easy for them to kill us. They must pay a lot of price, and it's not impossible to escape with our physical strength at that time, so the reason why I'm here this time is Neptune. A breakthrough in strength, and finally taking Enel for his own use. Quote,